All right. All right. Let's do this one more again. Uh, I'm going to truncate it a little bit. I don't know if everyone was here when I did this before. So if you guys can hear me now in the chat, drop a one for me if you can hear me. Drop a one. I'm going to let everyone find their way back to this place. Uh, VPN getting in any event, tonight we're going to talk about the black woman who attempted to burn down Dr. King's home. We're going to talk about tough love. Will a particular type of tough love work today? We're going to answer the question, do we need more black TV networks? You'll see why. And then we're going to talk about health and how health is essential for African liberation. As I said earlier, it bothers me that people who talk African liberation never really tackle the health issue of it all. So that's what we have in store tonight. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm going to start the show officially now, and on the other side, I'll welcome the panelists and drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about black empowerment. Our show focuses on black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
All right. Without any further hiccups, I hope. Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, Saturday night. Shoot the breeze. I apologize for the tardiness, etc. Let me welcome in the panel that I have here. I guess I got a message Oni to come on over here. But Black Steel, how are you this week?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming through.
All right, I'm driving right now. I'll be home in a few minutes, so I don't know if it's echoing. How do I sound?
All right. Juana, how are you this week?
I'm good, bro, man. Hey, don't worry about being late, man. Ain't no time like right now. Ain't no time like right now. But Black still sound like he in the mothership right now. So we gotta.
I'm trying to be on that face.
Yeah. So I text Oni because Oni was wondering. Oh, he's here. He's here right now. Okay, all right.
He's there now. Yeah. Thanks for hanging in there. Oni, how are you this week?
I'm cool. We ain't talking about Black still getting kidnapped abducted from the aliens.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad situation. Black Steel in over there.
It won't be long. I'll be home soon. So.
Okay. Shout out to KW7 in the chat. He says Mink Slide claims that he's a tether. No, claims that she's a tether. FBA woman would never do such a thing. Shaking my damn head. Lero's out there saying peace, loved ones. Anthony McPhail is out there. He says peace, brother, and peace to all the panel and chat and KWAZ radio family. I appreciate that. Without further ado, let me put up Shoot the Breeze topic number 1. Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 says, what would possess a black person to attempt to burn down Dr. King's home? This, of course, came with a link. I'll share it with you guys here. So this has a little video intro. So I'll play the video, and then I'll read whatever the article is talking about after.
The birthplace of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. after this woman was caught on video appearing to try to burn it down. Channel 2's Audrey Washington is live near the house on Auburn Avenue. Audrey, there are now more park rangers walking around the home this afternoon because of all of that.
In fact, I just saw a park ranger truck circle this block here. As you can see, visitors continuing to visit this historic home. And I just have to tell you, you can smell gasoline in the area. That's how much gas was poured on the grass and the front porch of this home. Witnesses say the woman was just seconds away from lighting this historic house on fire.
The nerve. How did she get up there?
Anyone who sees the video is immediately shocked.
Had we arrived today and it had been burnt down, oh my God.
A bystander started recording when he noticed a woman dousing the birth home of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with gasoline. He stopped her before she could start the fire. The woman was quickly detained by 2 off-duty NYPD officers who just happened to be visiting the area. We spoke with a witness Thursday night.
She grabbed a lighter from the grass and started to come back up the stairs. So I stood at the stairs and said, you can't do this, and blocked her.
Police charge 26-year-old Lanisha Henderson with arson and interference with government property. No word on a motive, but her father told us off camera that his daughter has been suffering from mental illness.
Something is wrong with your thinking, your mentality. Why would you want to destroy something so significant in history?
And I was horrified.
Friday, I spoke with National Park Ranger Judy Forte. She has supervised the MLK birth home for years. She said her team is now evaluating different security measures.
Taking the opportunity to review our processes and improve upon those that we can.
And Henderson is set to go before a judge on Saturday. As for this property here, I'm told that firefighters were able to dilute all of the gasoline that was poured on the front porch and the front yard. So that's why it's safe for visitors to come back to this area. And we are live here along Auburn Avenue, Northeast Atlanta. Audrey Washington, Channel 2 Action News.
Just a wild scene, Audrey. Thank you for that. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in that family home on January 15th back in 1929. Giving you more details now about the historic site. The MLK House was first listed on the National Register of Historic Places May 2nd, 1974. The historic district now consists of 35 acres in Northeast Atlanta, surrounding that home at 501 Auburn Avenue. And just blocks away are the King Center and Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King was a pastor until his death in 1960. Right now, tours are suspended. That house is going under renovations. It'll be that way through at least 2025.
You know, it's funny.
So there was a fire hydrant.
For some reason, I hadn't thought about King being born in 1929. That kind of hit me funny for a second there. In any event, I'm sure all of you saw this story, and I'm sure you saw, like KW Dawn 7, I'm sure you saw the FBA ADOS types talking about early on in this incident, talking about it looked like a tether, as they call them, right? did this. But what a lot of people don't understand too, I can speak for Caribbean folks, we have a high amount of respect for MLK. Like a high amount of respect for MLK. Like we wouldn't really, in fact, I would venture to say not many black people, period, would do this unless they were out of their minds or paid a huge bag by Whitey to go in there and do this type of shit. Because these white folks don't care if it had burned down either, by the way. But without further ado, let me hear from my panel. Buana, what say you to this?
This is a curious case. This is very curious. I have several things to say about this because I question a lot of things that happen. Okay, so now you hear the father say the daughter had mental illness issues. Okay, so how did she get around there? Did she drive around there or was she brought there? Where is her car? Where did she park her car to? Where would a mentally ill person be able, first of all, to get a driver's license? Well, you could say they'll probably be able to get a driver's license, but be able to go on the road to drive and find his home. Find his home. That's another thing too, because I don't think that even though that's a historical monument, you would have to really research that. Why would a mentally ill person, a person with mentally ill problems, think the first thing I need to do instead of self-harming or burning down my own house, I need to burn down the home of Martin Luther King Jr. That is a very strange thing to do, even for a mentally ill, deranged person. That's a strange thing to do. Very strange thing to do. So these are some of the questions I ask. Another thing too is, out of all the homes you could burn, bro, if you have an issue, why not burn down the home of Thomas Jefferson? It's right in Monticello. That's also a government protected monument too. Why you gotta burn down Martin Luther King's house in particular? Why don't you burn down some of the slave owners' homes? Because they have homes that exist all over the United States as well. But them homes are well protected. You probably wouldn't be able to even get in the neighborhood, let alone get access to the house itself. Why is this house so unprotected and unguarded? Since it's a so-called governmental monument that people should recognize, it should have been protected along. These kinds of questions are asked. Another thing too is black people, it seems, they've been trying to have a go at Dr. Martin Luther King, even in death. They murdered the Hebrew Israelites murdered his mother. Then, he was murdered by the country in which he was born in. But needless to say, a white guy murdered him. But it's like now a black person who wants to, put fuel to the fire now and burn down the man's home. For what purpose? There are so many different monuments. If you feel aggrieved by Dr. Martin Luther King, there are so many other people within the United States who have homes who have aggrieved you. Why start at his home? What are you trying to send a message and say as a black person? It's just so many questions that arise for this particular thing, but I just think it's ridiculous and crazy. I have my own ideas about what's going on because it's like there's so much question marks to this particular incident. But why Dr. Martin Luther King? Go burn down George Washington home. Go burn down George Bush home in Texas. They have go burn down Trump Towers. Why do you find yourself in Atlanta? Because I don't even think she is from Atlanta. So why do you find yourself in Atlanta trying to burn down the home of a man who's been dead 50, 60 years? What are you trying to do? But these are the questions I have in regards to this particular thing. But I'll stop there and let the other brothers go.
Wait, Buana, before you go, you mentioned Dr. King's mom was killed by a Hebrew Israelite?
Yes. Look it up.
Wow, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that piece of information. Let's go to Oni. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, I didn't know about I might have forgotten about the Hebrew Israelite killing his mother. But damn. Okay. Yeah, what would cause somebody or possess somebody? Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know, actually. I don't know why anybody would try to burn down Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home. Like, Yeah, I don't know why. I can't hold you. Like, and she just seemed crazy too. You see how she just laying there, not even resisting at all. Just laying there after getting held down. I don't understand why. I can't hold you. And they're not even giving answers. It's I guess the embarrassing part is that some white boys called her out. You know? Like I think that's the embarrassing part because you would think at least black folk would call her out, but some white folk, noticed her and recorded her and then stopped her even. And that's a damn shame. That's all I can say.
Appreciate that. Only the one thing I would say, as Andy McPhail in the chat says, yeah, it's true. A Hebrew Israelite killed his mother. There's a short documentary on YouTube about it. I'll check. I'll look for that. I will look for that. Let me see if I could find, I'm trying to wait for Black Steel to come back. Let me see if I could find this Neferkari Dessalines clip. Let me see if I could find this Neferkari Dessalines clip where he was playing an excerpt from the Tariq Nasheed nonsense. So let's see. I'm going to share this with you guys. And then by that time, hopefully, the Black Steel.
Today, we're going to talk about, I'm sure you already heard about it. A young lady was detained and taken into custody for trying to burn down the childhood house of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. down in Georgia. Very strange story. I got a few things to say about it, but it's been a while since I did a video on Tariq Nasheed, and recently he's came back on my radar. If you take a look up on the screen, once this story broke, Tariq hopped on social media and he did a broadcast entitled, "Did a Tether Try to Burn Down the House of Martin Luther King?" And a tether, in case you're not familiar, is a term created by Tariq which refers to black immigrants specifically, right? Like not really just immigrants, like not Asian immigrants or Hispanic immigrants, but mainly the black immigrants, mainly from the Caribbean, Africa, things like that. So he uses the word tether as a substitute for the word invader, trespasser, illegal alien, infiltrator, etc., etc. So when you hear the word tether, that is what is being referred to in that context. And today's video is going to be very similar to videos I've done in the past where Tariq Nasheed would hop on a viral story, a trending topic, and without any information, not even knowing the names of the suspect or the victims involved, he would jump out the window and say, "Oh, this is an immigrant. This is a tether. This is someone from Africa. This is somebody from Ethiopia. This is somebody from Ghana, Nigeria, Sudan, Burundi, Jamaica, the Congo." And later on down the line, maybe about 24 hours, 48 hours later, the authorities would put out the information from the investigation, and you would come to find out that nah, bruh. Nah, they born and raised, homegrown, 1776, American as apple pie. Yeah, today is another one of those videos. I did videos a while back. Take a look up on the screen. Tariq Nasheed blames mass shootings and violent crimes on black immigrants. Tariq Nasheed says, "Are black immigrants robbing old ladies in Memphis?" Tariq Nasheed blames black immigrants for the Tyree Nichols tragedy. You remember way back when it was those officers down in Memphis, I think it was somewhere in Tennessee, where it was a traffic stop and a young brother named Tyree Nichols, he unfortunately lost his life at that traffic stop. And Tariq Nasheed jumped out the window and said, "These are all immigrants. These are Jamaicans. These is dudes from the Congo." And come to find out, you had folks down in Tennessee, down in Memphis, that came out and said, "Nah, bruh, them dudes ain't from the Congo. They from Ethiopia. They right down from Memphis. They American. I went to school with them." That's what a lot of folks said. And we can look at their names and we could tell, obviously, these dudes is not from, they're not immigrants, and Memphis is not a hub for immigrants. So we should understand the demographics of the United States to understand when certain narratives don't really make sense. But anyways, man, it is what it is. For whatever reason, he continues to make these same mistakes and his credibility remains the same amongst his audience. I don't understand colonialists and slave traders. Okay, so back in the 1600s, when the Europeans were setting the foundation out the window and said, "Oh, this is an African, this is somebody from Senegal, this is somebody from Nigeria, this is somebody from Johannesburg, this is somebody from Nairobi, Kenya." But as we all know now, no, it's not. It's a homegrown American citizen, 1776, from the deep South, the Confederate States. She is from right here, North America. Just like every other time he tried to push that same line, that same narrative, we come to find out that they are from right here, North America, 1776. But anyways, I understand. When you have propaganda to push, when you have a narrative to sell, I understand. But anyways, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. Take a look up on the screen. This person said, "That's a tether. Only a tether would do that." Now, listen, it's so crazy because I don't know how Tariq is able to do the same thing over and over again. Rinse, wash, repeat. Says this person is from Ghana. This person is from the Congo. They're from Ethiopia. You kind of find out, nah, they right here from Texas. They from Georgia. They from, you know what I mean? They're from Arkansas. And then his audience they don't even come back and try to correct the statement. They don't try to say, hey, Tariq, bro, you was wrong, bro. I think you got it wrong, bro. You got to come back and correct the statement. It's crazy because in the line of business that I'm in, one thing that I was taught was, besides customer service is a major part of the business, jealous. This person said, we need to get these tethers deported. This person said, it's a tether, but I bet white people are behind it because white people can hide their racist behavior behind these obedient, defeated black tethers to do their dirty work against our icons and our heroes because of their joint jealousy towards black Americans. This person said, I'm getting Nigerian and Ghanaian vibes. And the person at the bottom said, there is no such thing as a Nigerian or a Ghanaian with the name Lanisha Santrice. Listen, brother. Listen. It reminds me of that video I did way back where words have credibility and honor in these streets, but you can't just be saying shit on the mic just to say some shit, bro. Just for content, just for clicks and views. Come on, brother. Listen, I know Biden got the economy fucked up. I know Joe Biden fucked up the economy, but regardless of that fact, you cannot be doing anything for the money, big bro. Come on, man. An immigrant. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, bro. Yes, they did. Just like the homie down in Memphis named Randy. They tried to say he was from Ethiopia or some shit like that. Or he's from the Congo. He from Lagos. So he from Igbo land or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? He from Yoruba land or something, man. These dudes is crazy. Oh, my God. This person said, possible tether. Just stop. Man, I'm serious. But just stop it, bro. Stop it, bro. That shit might work on your audience, but it does not work on intelligent black men, bro. Intelligent black men ain't buying the bullshit you selling, big bro.
To come. And a lot of what's going on in Atlanta.
You know, he got one intelligent member of. Oh man. But anyways, man, I'm gonna jump into Tariq's broadcast from last night where he was talking on the situation and he was trying to insinuate that this lady was not American, that she was from the Congo. And yeah, we'll be back. Let's go.
Now, family, something's going on in Atlanta right now. And a few people, they've sent me the story. This happened earlier this evening in Atlanta, a few hours ago. This woman who appears to be a possible tether was pouring gasoline on the historic home of Dr. Martin Luther King in Atlanta. She walked up to the house and, you know, so it's a tourist attraction. And she's pouring gasoline on the house and she was about to light it on fire. Some good Samaritans stopped this woman and they detained her and they held her down for the police to come. And a lot of people are getting up on this story right now. And we're trying to find some information on the woman. They got her, she's arrested, but they're not releasing any information on her name, which I find very odd. So they're not letting anybody know who this woman is, but this is a quote unquote black woman. But when you see there's some footage of it and it looks like a tether, to be honest. We're getting some real strong tether vibes here. What the hell is this about? A lot of these folks who are non-FBA, who are quote unquote black, we know they have a lot of contempt for our black icons. I don't see an FBA person doing anything like this. You understand? I don't see it. I don't know. I'm not saying yes, no, or whatever, but I smell some Jollof. I smell Bammy in this situation. You understand? Something is off about this. It's weird. And just the way the person looked, the woman had some real tethery vibes. So what's this about? Because we know that a lot of stuff that goes on, a lot of this weird stuff are done by outsiders. The historic MLK house, is it a tether? Did somebody send that woman? Because a lot of times we got to understand the white supremacist sends their Negro minions to do the dirty work for them. We're trying to see what's going on. Who is this person? Why is this person trying to attack the historic MLK house?
All right, we back. Now, enough of the nonsense, man. Enough of the bullshit, man. Let's have.
All right, sorry, but I was trying to find the Tariq Nasheed so you could hear it with your own ears. I kind of want to ask everyone here in the chat, like, can't you tell this guy is on some bullshit just by how he's talking about it? He's trying to kind of, he's trying to push his propaganda, but He's trying to kind of do it from a safe distance at the same time, possibly a tether. I smell Bammy and all this type of stuff. And it's amazing that there's any black folks that go for this type of stuff. But anyway, we got Black Steel here. Black Steel, what say you to everything you've heard and seen about the situation?
Well, the mothership has landed. I'm glad I made it home. So just let everybody know I'm made it back to home base. So this is what. First of all, Tariq is such a clown. It's really concerning to me how on the cusp of we're almost 2024. This man is an agent. Everything he does has been set up to sow discord between African people. So this whole idea of us being a foreign black person. Remember when he said the gang violence was caused by by foreign black people? It's so sad, and I think it's really, I don't know. People are still falling for his rhetoric. It's really disturbing. So I do believe this young lady may have been mentally ill. She may have had a manic episode. One thing I want to say is that it's something KW Don said about the black misandrists, those who hate black men. There's been a lot of talk about Dr. King being unfaithful to his wife, even though his wife Coretta said he was not. She always said he was never unfaithful to her. But there's a lot of people who like to go back and look at our black heroes with almost like a revisionist lens. They want to talk about Dr. King and his wife. They even went back and talked about Frederick Douglass left his wife for a white woman, when it comes out that Frederick Douglass married a white woman after his wife died. So they create this whole narrative to kind of project the image that black men have always been willing to betray the white race for whatever reason. That's the story they're trying to spin. So I don't know if it's mentally ill. We've got a lot of mentally ill people out in the society. American society will drive you crazy. Laro's a good point. Now, the Black Panther Party was misogynistic, even though they had many women in positions of authority within the Black Panther Party. So, if it's almost like they go back and they look at history, right? And if this black person wasn't a perfect individual, then we can't support them. Then their ideology was incorrect and what they taught was incorrect. So if this black person, if he kept his dog outside, he was a piece of trash. He hated animals. Or if this black person didn't say anything positive about black women, or he said something negative about gay people, he was a homophobe and he was this and he was that. So I don't know if that sort of propaganda got to this young woman, maybe touched her in the head. Her father said she had mental illnesses, so it could very well be that she was having an episode. That's what I think. She was just having an episode. This idea to kind of spin her as though she's a foreign black person for a black person from another country, that's nonsense. Tariq is always going to find some way to insert himself with his divisive rhetoric into the conversation. There's nothing about this woman. Her name, what? LaQuisha. This girl she could be from anywhere. She's American. Let's be honest. This is an African American person. She probably was having a manic episode, and Dr. King's house might have been the first place to get to. I don't know of any other location she was close to, but I don't think there's any truth to that. But I do think we have to be careful about some of the rhetoric that comes out about our black leaders, our black heroes, even centuries or decades after their death, and attempt to try to paint them in a negative light. White people don't allow their heroes to be maligned in such a way, and we shouldn't allow our heroes to be either. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, that misogynistic term is thrown about a lot. Some have said that we're misogynistic here.
It's always a way to try to deflect from any type of. One thing I've noticed, that any type of criticism against women gets turned into, all of a sudden, you're misogynistic. They're not listening to the points you have to say. It's just like with Jewish people. Whenever you say anything about Jewish people, you're anti-Semitic, And another thing I want to bring up, Koku, this whole idea about tethers and making black people look bad. There was a black American in the United Nations who, when they called for a ceasefire in Gaza, United States, he was the only person. See, black Americans, we don't need black people from other countries to make us look bad because we've always got coons in the midst. They've never had to go overseas to find their coons. There's plenty of coons that are born right here on U.S. soil. So here, this black American person set up here and approved genocide against an oppressed people. So yeah, we don't need this idea of tether. I bet you Tariq's not going to talk about that. You know, we're definitely not going. We don't need anybody from another country to make black Americans look bad. We got our own homegrown coons here. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
In the chat, Anthony McPhail says Tariq Nasheed is nothing more than a con artist and opportunist. He preys on black people who don't know history and don't have self-knowledge. And I'll add to that, Anthony, the folks who are not willing to do the work themselves. That's who Tariq really preys on. Folks who are not willing to do the work themselves. So in other words, they ain't gonna read a book, they ain't gonna, do research, things like that. They'll wait for a documentary to come out where he says things like Mansa Musa was Montezuma and things of that nature, but they just won't do the work. Trigger Happy 262 said something too. He said one theory on Twitter that has been thrown out there is that she could possibly be a divester that bought into the idea that MLK went out with a white woman. Other than that, possibly mental illness. I'm going to do like the white folks do. And I'm just going to say she has mental illness. That black woman, mentally ill, lone wolf. That's what I'm going to do too. Shout out to D-Web from the Harsh Rally podcast. I think I shout out Lero. Shout out to Urzuli as well. I think I got everyone who's... Oh, I'm RBG, Real Black Gentleman. Does anyone else want to add any final thoughts to this prompt?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What I think is happening is that the liberals and the black feminists are trying to remove or disregard the idea or image of Martin Luther King, that patriarchal figure, and they are trying to replace him with another black character in history. Who is that? Bayard Rustin. They are trying. Now maybe I have my conspiratorial bag on, but with the whole Netflix Bayard Rustin thing and hearing his name more and more in liberal circles and things of that nature, he is acceptable in terms of the civil rights struggle. He was pro-LGBT, and it goes along with the narrative where these people are pushing this liberal agenda, in particular for black men, the castration of that black male figure, that patriarchal, strong black male figure. And even though I have issues in terms of the politics with Dr. King was certainly a male person, a strong male figure. But I think that he is, in modern society, he is going to be perceived as toxic in terms of his private behavior, in terms of his being a philanderer with different women and things of that nature. But Bayard Rustin goes along the lines of what these liberals trying to push into the minds of black people. So it's just a curious thing I have. But if I start to hear his name more and more in circles, it'll really confirm what the liberals and these black feminists are trying to do. But I just think that that's the option that these people are trying to push in the faces of black people. But I'll just leave it right there.
I kind of like that actually, because they're about to drop a movie about him, right?
I think they have one. They may have one out already. I think it's on Netflix right now.
Right.
About Rustin, right?
Yes.
Oh, he was a fucking
absolutely
supporter. I mean, he wasn't against Asia.
Yes. But Black Steel. Look at the politics. Look at his politics. I think he had Bayard Rustin had a white husband, a boyfriend, or some shit like that.
Yes, he did.
Look at his politics, bro. It falls in line with what is acceptable in terms of the acceptable behavior for black men Yeah, in today's society, maybe not back then, but in today's society, I'm very curious about that. But maybe I have my conspiratorial bag on. I don't know. But I'll
Yeah,
stop there.
I plan on looking at it, Buana, but I will say, like, to me, there's enough stuff to criticize Rustin about to where you don't even got to touch his homosexuality. The fact that he, his whole support for Rhodesia, his whole support for Israel, that in of itself makes him. How can you support a oppressive government in the heart of Africa where Africans are being oppressed? That right there should exclude him completely from any
You just
discussion.
said it. You said just now his support of who? Israel. Who does that benefit, bro?
You got me.
Who does that benefit?
You
The
got
man was
me.
just last week he was telling black people how much he loved them. The Jewish man was telling just last week he was watching the Jewish Hasidic Jew telling black folks how much he loved them. It just goes along the line. He fits so perfectly. He fits so perfectly. But like I said, I'll leave it, man. I'll leave it. I'll leave it.
That's an excellent point. That's something to keep our eyes on for real, for real. Does anyone else want to add any last thoughts here before we go to the brief summary?
Let me jump in a little bit. So I think you mentioned Tariq Nasheed. When Buana tells us we have to dumb it down, we could critique Tariq Nasheed, but Tariq Nasheed's mass appeal, the proof is in the pudding. When I heard him speaking, I'm thinking to myself, I've heard propagandists, and this is what they advise you to do. Like people who theorize on propaganda, they say, like when you say, "Hey, he's not going to get to anybody who gets into books." That's what propagandists tell you to do. They say, "Do not go for the people who go into books. Do not try to make arguments. Don't try to form arguments for people. Act on emotion. Speak on people's base level." He's like, "Look, that person's not one of us. That person is one of them. Us versus them." Now, you might say, well, he's dividing us, he's dividing black people. Okay, of course, he's paid to do that. The point is, there's a lesson there, right? And this is what every people do. Every people have an enemy and they have their own group. In fact, when I wrote my book, I said, like, I had to figure out how can I make a definition for propaganda in one sentence. And I think I borrowed a little bit from other people, but the idea of propaganda is you have people identify their allies and identify their enemies. And as you listen to what Tariq Nasheed was saying, you already know who are the bad guys. You don't have to be versed in genealogy, versed in history, versed in so on and so forth, because you're not going to be. Most people are not going to be. If and the thing is that we especially like Bwana would say the intellectual types, right? We tend to try to make it too nuanced. Like I'm not like when it comes to, are all white people bad? Well, no, there are some good. Oh no, there's some this. You don't form arguments for people. You say that white person, that cracker, that this, that white person, that small hat, that whatever it is, you have to make them bad 20,000 times, 20,000% of the times. And then, to my brother from another mother, Brother Bakari's point, you also have to make your people good. 9 times out of 10, because when you do that, because like you listen to Tariq Nasheed, are FBA good people or bad people? They're good people. Are tethers good people or bad people? They're bad people. And it's universal. There's no exceptions. It's, oh, you know what? A FBA wouldn't do this. Now, plain as day, there's an FBA doing that. And like the other brother was saying, I forget his name, Dessalines, I think. He's like, Tariq Nasheed's not going to turn around and tell the truth. No shit, Sherlock. He ruined his own movement. He ruined his own propaganda. What Tariq Nasheed's doing is a masterclass. And he's laughing his ass to the bank. Whereas we're saying, hey, why doesn't he just tell the truth? You're not supposed to. Anybody studying propaganda should tell you you're not supposed to tell the truth. The people who want to know the truth are those scholarly types and the scholarly types are not going to do like that guy who attacked the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? The scholarly types are not going to be sending you the Cash App. Right? The people who are going to do that are the people who are, I made a post when I said there's people who are like, maybe, there's lazy, maybe, or something else crazy, right? Most people are going to be lazy. Most of us, or most human beings, are lazy. We're a species of animal that are lazy. Yes, the people who are going to go read books, the people who are going to do, they're not into Trick Nasheed. We're also not going to buy his documentary. We're also not so on and so forth. But the person who's not going to read a book, they are going to buy a documentary. If you have hip hop characters inside the documentary, they're like we gonna watch freaking Vlad TV. You give the production quality of Vlad TV on different political situations, different political conversations. You got a buyer. Now that you have a buyer, you give them the easy, so on and so forth, and you tell them, hey, Tether bad. Hey, you're good. FBA good. You good. You made hip hop. You did this. You did that. It's a masterclass. So that's I could hate on the dude all I want. I'm not his intended audience anyway. I'm not even gonna waste time hating on him. I'm just gonna sit back and learn and say, oh yeah, that's the game I should have been peeping. Because I've been making things way too, because a brother used to tell me I used to make things too complicated. It is.
Now that the intellectuals in the room are getting it, I've done my job. He's gotten exactly what I've been. I gotta roll my eyes. I've been begging these brothers, begging them. But now that he's gotten it,
you know what? I'm all right. Sure, man. Take credit.
I feel like I was. I'm gonna take credit for it. I was begging these brothers to dumb it down. Now that these brothers getting it, I mean, I've done my job. Let them do his rock. You know what I mean? Y'all can start from there because now at least the Tariq Nasheeds of the world will have some competition in terms of what these guys trying to do. Because y'all have these channels y'all come on these channels and teach every other week. So now that you kind of understand where I was coming from, now I know that the message will reach a larger audience of people because now it ain't about trying to approach the academics in the room, but to approach other people as well. So the message will be more diverse. So I respect that and I appreciate the fact that what you said just now. I really do.
In the chat, Trigger Happy 262 Plus says this intellectual class versus the masses is simply solved by understanding that some information has to be democratic and other complex, in-depth information with rigor isn't democratic. Only said Buana loves to take a moment. Razuli says, yeah, Bayard Rustin has a movie coming out. Also, I want to thank Anthony McPhail.
I was going to say Erzuli ordered it on early release or something.
Yeah. Anthony McPhail said he sent me that documentary on Instagram. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that, Anthony. Good discussion. In the meantime, though, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 says, will this type of tough love work today with the high prices for food, for entertainment, food, etc.? This came with a link that's going to take us to Billy Carson, of all people. Let's see what it's about.
It's going to go up. I'm 12. I said, okay. Luckily for me, I was smart. I looked into Miami News. They were hiring for newspaper subscription sales kids, 12 years old to 16 years old. They would come to your house. A guy would come to your house. A team leader would come to your house in a pickup truck with like 3 kids in the back. You'd hop in the pickup truck. This is before seatbelt laws and all this abduction stuff. None of that stuff even existed really back then. Not on this level. You get in the back of that pickup truck. He takes you to a neighborhood. He says, square that block. That means you have to go around that block and knock on every door till you get back towards the point he dropped you off. and then you got to wait there. We're doing this way into the deep hours of the night, 8 o'clock at night. We're still out working. I turned 12. My dad called me in the room. He said, son, this is it. And then he calls me in the room and says, I'm not buying you any more school clothes. I'm not buying you any more school supplies. And from this point forward, you have to pay rent to live here. You got to pay $100 a month to live here. And as you get older, the rent's going to go up. I'm 12. I said, okay. Luckily for me, I was smart. I looked in the Miami News. They were hiring for newspaper subscription sales kids, 12 years old to 16 years old. The team leader will come to your house in a pickup truck with like 3 kids in the back. You'd hop in the pickup truck. This is before seatbelt laws and all this abduction stuff. None of that stuff even existed really back then. Not on this level. You get in the back of that pickup truck. He takes you to a neighborhood. He says, square that block. That means you have to go around that block and knock on every door till you get back toward the point he dropped you off. And then you got to wait there. We're doing this way into the deep hours of the night, 8 o'clock at night. We're still out working. I turned 12. My dad called me in the room. He said, son, this is it. And then he calls me in the room and says, I'm not buying you any more school clothes. I'm not buying you any more school supplies. And from this point forward, you have to pay rent to live here. You got to pay $100 a month to live here. And as you get older, the rent's going to go up. I'm 12. I said, okay. Luckily for me, I was smart. I looked in the Miami News. They were hiring for newspaper subscription sales kids, 12 years old to 16 years old. They would come to your house. A guy would come to your house. A team leader would come to your house in a pickup truck with like 3 kids in the back. You'd hop in the pickup truck. This is before seatbelt laws and all this abduction stuff. None of that stuff even existed really back then. Not on this level. You get in the back of that pickup truck. He takes you to a neighborhood. He says, square that block. That means you have to go around that block and knock on every door till you get back toward the point he dropped you off. And then you got to wait there. We're doing this way into the deep hours of the night, 8 o'clock at night. We're still out working. I turned 12. My dad called me in the room. He said, son, this is it. We're now.
All right, I played it a few times because up to now, I don't know how you start a YouTube short from the beginning. So I just have to let it run. You guys get the idea. Lero in the chat says, my brother almost got kidnapped by a weirdo trying to earn money mowing lawns at 14. Wouldn't recommend. In America, Black Steel earlier said his daddy didn't love him. Buana said 12 is too young, I think. I actually agree with you guys on that. I think sometimes we overdo this thing. But anyway, let me start with Black Steel. Black Steel, what say you to this?
So my thoughts on this is, first of all, as far as tough love, I mean, I think there's a place for it, but we have to understand the world we live in, and that poverty is a societal issue, not an individual issue. So I think many times we try to look for individual solutions to a problem that is a societal problem, right? So this man talking about his work ethic, first of all, 12 years old is too young to be out here having to pay rent, because this is still a child. 12 years old is still children, really. So this idea that this, I was smart. No, you weren't smart. You're a victim, really, sir. This is why child labor laws exist. I'm totally fine with a young person working, earning money, but the reality is that these economic times that we live in is very precarious. We need all hands on deck. As far as making a 12-year-old pay rent, that's crazy. I can't even wrap my head around. That's why I say his father didn't really love him, because your money, you can teach a child about money, teach about responsibility, but to me, making a child pay rent in their home is ridiculous. Having a little side job, I don't know, understand that, this guy looks to be a little bit younger than me. I got my first job at 16 working at McDonald's. And I paid for school clothes. I paid for the video games I wanted to. My mom didn't really make me pay bills like that. When I turned 18, I had to pay my car insurance. I was gradually eased into the adult life. It wasn't like just thrown out there. I was taught to manage money. I was taught about responsibilities and things like that. Razuli says this guy is a Christian. So that makes sense now, because What a lot of times grifters like to do, they like to play on your insecurities. You're poor because it's your fault. But if you listen to me, I can show you how to get out of it. So that makes a lot of sense, is why he's a grifter, he's a scammer now, because this whole his whole nonsense he's pushing, and it's nonsense really. It's more of, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And he's never going to address the societal problems that keep people poor. He's never going to address the fact that wages, at least in the United States, wages have not kept up with inflation, and that wages have really remained stagnant since the 1970s. So the buying power of each dollar has actually decreased over time. He's never going to talk about the fact that home prices have skyrocketed to where the average home price is almost $500,000. The average new car price is almost $700. You can't outwork. This is a societal issue. You can't bootstrap your way out of it. You starting work at 12 is not going to do anything, because you're not dealing with the real societal effects of it. I'll leave it there, let other people speak. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Yeah, this something you kind of touched on there. These grifters always have this kind of story of hustling as a child. Tariq does that too. All these guys do that stuff too. They was out there on the block hustling since they were 9 and 7 and all kind of shit. And so here comes this guy. This guy is, I think this guy is Billy Carson, right? He's the guy who's talking about he has a city that he built underground. This is why Zuli was saying the guy is a grifter and a liar and scamming people right now. Hashari Podcast says that dude ain't 60. Looks like 40s, early 50s at best. He wasn't working at 12 like that. I agree with you. I agree with you too. These guys always have this hustle story, man. It's this rags to riches type shit. That's really that really bothers me. Lero says, I understand poverty can require all hands on deck though. Yeah, I get it, but I think it was Lero who said earlier, go work at a little corner store or whatever, but not that kind of hustling by yourself outside unprotected. That to me is a no-no. But let me hear what the rest of the guys have to say. Let me hear from Oni next. Oni, what's it?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know who this guy is. His story, I mean, obviously it's antiquated, even if the guy is, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand when black folks say they don't know about abductions, 40 years ago or whatever, when, most of us were abducted. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that, yeah, America is not safe for this. I mean, it probably never was safe, but it's definitely not safe. I was talking about how in Africa, my son, he a young buck, and he was walking around opening windows, like going to people's houses and opening their windows. And I was like, don't do that, obviously. But like, if he was in America doing that, like that's a body bag, like that's a casket. You knocking on somebody's door, like there are black children who they ring somebody's doorbell and somebody opens the door and shoots them. Like America, like even like I one time got somebody's mail. It was like, I'm on certain street. They were on same address, different street. And I was thinking to myself, like, I was like, let me bring their mail to their door. And then I reached their door and I'm like, you know what? Nah. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what their reaction is gonna be for me having their mail. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not the country where you just say, I'm gonna send my 12-year-old to with money. I'm gonna send my 12-year-old outside with money, and then hopefully he makes more money and comes back alive. Like that's not a thing. But on the other side, I understand a part of what he's saying in the sense of, a father knows their kid and knows their area enough, hopefully, and can trust some people to take care of their kid while their kid is out there making money. And then, a father wants to teach the value of money by, giving a kid a recurring bill. Like, I don't think this father would actually kick his son out if his son didn't pay rent. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it's probably not even a real story, probably not even a real father. But what I'm saying is that absolutely, I agree that, like, for instance, I would wish to teach my son, like, I want to teach my son some financial stuff. I mean, obviously he's too young to work, but like a thing is that you should know your child enough to know when they're ready to work, and then you could give them an opportunity to like, uh, you know, like them, like, have some sort of sense of values, have some sort of sense of purchasing power, um, because I do think that that can contribute to a good personality if done right. You know, if done right, in fact, let me see. I think the comment says, Lero says the Asians be having their kids working in front of the house. They shop, yeah, cooking the back, young as hell, safe for the house in the street, but kind of wild. But like, yeah, it's like you should know if your kid's ready to teach them some values so that when they get into adulthood, they can get those values. Because the reality is this: a lot of people are underprepared for adulthood in these countries. In America, most of us are being trained to be, just workers, right? But but like, even as workers, we're not really being trained um in personality even, so it's really good uh for a father to do something like this, but it's not really something you would do in 2023, and it's definitely um like, and it's definitely, it might just be too young, like if you were seriously telling your kid you have to pay these bills. Now, I understand telling your kid, hey, look, pay me this money, just so that you have some recurring bill, and maybe you just holding on to it and you pay them back in the future. But like, if you were really like, look, I'll kick you out if you don't pay, then there's like something psychopathic about you. But that's all I can say.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Thanks for that, Oni. I think you should take the opportunity to teach your children finances. I also think you should teach your children a work ethic. But at 12, in America especially, I think, because I'm thinking about my own kids. At 12, no, I wouldn't do that. But this idea that you'll kick the kid out, or the threat that you'll kick the kid out, I don't know if that's helpful either. Um, I don't think that teaches anything except maybe being fearful of some consequences. And at 12, I find that's a little bit heavy. 14, 15, 16, those are good ages, I think. Because I first worked, I want to say when I was like 14 or 15. But 12 is a little bit young. But with all of that said, Zuliism is saying that Elon Musk father kicked him out. Bill Gates' father kicked him out. This guy is a felon scamming people with number spirituality. Is that true that Bill Gates' father kicked him out? I don't think that's true. Because I think I remember hearing Bill Gates got his start because his mother was on the board of IBM and got him like an interview or a job or something with IBM. So I don't know if that's true. But with all of that said, let's hear from Buana. Buana would say.
Cool. This interesting because I had an example of that tonight. My brethren, who usually, whenever my washing machine breaks down or refrigerator, I call him my Haitian brethren. His name is Hector. I don't know why his name is Hector because Spanish name, but he came over tonight and he brought his son with him. His young son. His son maybe around 12, 13. And as he was fixing the washing machine, he was showing his son the ins and outs of the washing machine, how to fix it. And I was just listening, to the side, listening to that conversation. It reminded me of when my pops used to take me to class with him. You know, when he would teach the class, I was very young, teach an adult class, and I would just watch him as he would teach the adult classes as he was teaching. You pass on certain things as men in terms of work ethic, in terms of skill set, skill set. Now I don't know if the child will eventually follow his dad in the profession that his dad is in right now, but his dad is still giving his child something that will be able to profit him as he becomes an adult. Now, this whole idea of a child working from 12 alone, I just think that that is a stretch. If the father or if the adult, whether it be a father or mother, takes the child along with them in terms of uh, passing along certain things that the child may observe or grasp, that when they become an adult, you know, that would be a good thing. But just to put them on the circuit, you know, in the hands of just strangers, I think that you are caught in a situation that could be treacherous because you don't know what these adults thinking. They take advantage of children in these kinds of scenarios. I started. I remember when I wanted to. I started working around the same age as you, Coco. I used to work in Mike's shoe store warehouse around a bunch of grown ass old men. You know,
I know,
at
Mike. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, at the time, I wanted to buy some nice pants. You know, them MC Hammer pants, by the way. So I had the idea. My old man never pushed jobs on me. He never pushed jobs on me. So, well, if you want to go work, you go work. He never say, well, you can't do it. But it's just I had the initiative. But because I wanted a particular thing, and because it was four of us, I felt that it was important for me to take the initiative and go get it myself. So he kind of like assisted me, but he was always watching and ensuring that this young boy wasn't being taken advantage of. And I think that if you are a parent and you put your child out there into the marketplace, you're supposed to be in a position where you can supervise it. If you can't do that, then that child should not be working. You as an adult need to find another job, find a second job, go work another place. You know, that child should not be an extra income for you. He should not be an extra income for you, or else you shouldn't have him in the first place. You shouldn't have him in the first place. You know, a child should be a child until he becomes in a position where he could take care and control his own situation. Not at 12 years old. That's abuse. I think that that's abuse. That's a stretch. You know, so this thing, as you were saying earlier, that is all your responsibility, is all that's well, no, that's not no true. Adults come together and they decide to have a child whether they want to or not. And then the child should be a child until he is not a child no longer. And 12 years old, that child is still a child. He should not have the responsibilities of an adult. I think that is this man was abused. But he is cornered anyway because he's talking about spaceships and all that shit. You know what I mean? But as men and or as parents, we should be able to parent our children until they become of an age where they can properly take care of themselves and they don't no longer need adult assistance. And 12 years old for me is too young. I think it's nonsense. And it's not tough love, it's abuse. But I'll stop there.
I agree with everything you all said tonight. I used to hate. This is something that just happened too. I personally didn't like. Uh, I go to work, I little 14, 15 or whatever, 16. I go to work and my little money that I make, I had to hand that over to an adult. I hated that shit. Like, I think, because I look at my children. I'm like, if my son and them, my last son is about to be 14. If he was to get a little job, I don't take no money from him. Man, stack up your money. In fact, that's what I'm going to teach him, financial literacy. You work, you get paid. And what you get paid is about what, like what I like to say, it's not about what you spend, it's about what you keep. You know, but that some adults have some weird outlooks on these types of things. And if this guy is being true, which I doubt, his father had a weird outlook on stuff. In the chat, Daily Affirmation by Pauline said 12 is too young. Agreed. Lero said the bootstrap mentality be causing many to crash out. We don't talk about it though. That's a real good comment there, Lero. We don't talk about it. Now, if you're 12 and your partner tell you, you got to go out there and work or I kicking you out. Well, what the fuck is this 12-year-old going to go do? You know? Lero goes on to say, sending your kids out to hustle is how you get Kia Boys. I don't know who Kia Boys is, but I could imagine. Harsh Rally Podcast says to Lero, he says, these mofos ain't listening to bootstrap mentality. Most entitled generation ever to exist, causing way more crash outs if we're being honest. Zuli says, he is not even married to a black woman. His wife will not let him do that to his own child. Didn't know that. Thanks for the information there. Does anyone else want to add any last thoughts to this prompt before we move on? All right. Thanks, everyone, for your input on that prompt. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3. We're actually back on track now. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 says, Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 says, do we need more black TV networks? Black and, question mark. This came with a link, of course, that takes us to Twitter. This is a tweet from Baddies East. It says a black network came up with this at the Zeus network. This is not a good look. Let me see if this picture gets bigger. Let me make sure you guys can see it. I think you can see most of it. So Nick Cannon presents Bad versus Wild, Las Vegas, dark skin versus light skin. And you see the women to the left, I guess, are dark skin. Women to the right are light skin. It's December 7th, so it passed already. So light skin versus dark skin. And this is a guy making good money off of black folks too, by the way. The prompt says, should we or do we need more black TV networks? I personally absolutely feel we need more black networks. And this is the thing that kills me. And I know that there might be some people who are doing a thing out there and not getting the recognition, not being hyped up, etc. But we just kind of, in the so-called conscious community, we're just kind of sitting around talking about things. We're not venturing out, I find, to do new and innovative things. We're not, like, by now, you mean to tell me a real conscious brother can't, or sister can't come up with a network, TV, start small, build it up, and, something that conscious folks could tune into and really get some good knowledge. I find that strange. I find that really strange. And I know the talk is going to come up about capital and who doesn't have capital, this, that, and the other. And I understand that too. But we got to do something different. We have to counter this type of stuff. So I'm all for more black networks, but they have to be of a certain caliber, a certain quality. That's my rant. Let me hear what Black Steel has to say.
I mean, you beat me to it because I was really about to say that 90% of all media corporations are owned by six companies. So every media apparatus, I mean, I'm talking about 90% of them are owned by 6 companies. Disney, I can't name the 6 companies, but we do need more, maybe not network, but I do think there does need to be some way for black people to get positive images out for black people. But reality is that this, and this is a term that, we're talking about the lumpen proletariat, those people who exist, but they truly have no revolutionary consciousness. And this is what makes up the majority, I think, of black people, is that many black people are content with the status quo. Many of us have been, think about how the term Hotep became so maligned in society. Oh, you're a Hotep. You were with that black shit. Like that's a negative thing. That is nothing negative about it. I've even caught myself saying that in a negative way. That's how pervasive the propaganda is. So, do we need more? Yes, but it needs to be rooted in some level of consciousness, some level of scholarship. Just having a black network is not enough. Just the network itself being black is not sufficient because you're gonna get stuff like this. You're gonna get the light skin versus dark skin nonsense. That is something we need less of. So black networks, yes, but not black networks that engage in the foolishness. But we also have to understand what we're up against. That the media apparatus, even YouTube, who's that owned by? Instagram, who's that owned by? Rumble TV, another video sharing site. Twitter, Facebook, all of these multimedia conglomerates are owned and controlled by our enemies. So our message can only get out so much. That would take a lot of control for us to get those type of networks. And then when you do have networks, they spread disinformation. Now all of a sudden we're not really Africans, we're really the ancient Hebrews, or we're really the Native Americans. A lot of these networks, these internet and media channels, they spread false information, which is just as bad as spreading, it's nothing at all. It anyways is worse. So yeah, we do need to have something, but we got to make sure it's something that enriches and edifies our people. None of this nonsense they're putting out right now. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Afro Native World says you all need to get on a BB2Me TV. Yeah, I'm on there. Although I've been having problems signing in lately, but I'm on there. And I'll say this. I know that we have apparatus where we can tune into a lot of black lectures and things of that nature, and that's great, no doubt. I do believe we need more, and I'm reminded of something Oni said some time back about music. I do think we need more scripted shows that have the propaganda in it that we need for our people to get. I do think we need to see more black love and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like I think we do need something that the average Black equals African person can tune into, and they could find things that tantalize their fancy, so to speak, right? You could find the lectures if you want, but if you want to watch a Gaviite family, like a reality TV show with a Gaviite family, mother, father, children, living out a Gaviite life, just for example, I think we do need something like that. So I just want to put that out there. Anthony McPhail says there is an independent network called Black on Purpose TV. Okay, good to know. Good to know. He also says there's one called Got Kush TV. See, this is why I like doing Shoot the Breeze, because we don't have all the I don't have all the answers, but by the time I talk to some of y'all, I find out some new things. From Native World says, speak to Shakara. You just reminded me. I was supposed to interview him. Oh wow! I got to reach back out to him, so I will do that as well. Without further ado, let me hear from Oni on this one. Oni, actually no. Let's hear from Buana. Buana, what say you?
Yeah, the Shakaras of the world suffer from the same stagnation as we do. Shakara with God Kush TV he's a YouTuber as well. I mean, some of the content he kicks are black conscious stuff and are extremely informative. The problem is of the market. The market, is there a market for it? Does our people actually want it? The Brother Bakari is getting to different laments in terms of positivity and in terms of black HBCUs and promoting black culture and black empowerment. The question becomes, does our people want it? Is there a market for it? The answer to that is Nick Cannon showing you what the people them want. He's a millionaire. He been in this industry, and he's showing you that these people want to argue and discuss frivolous matters, a skin complexion, and fighting, and they gonna fight with each other over it. And he's gonna laugh himself all the way to the bank because he understands the underlying realities of popular black culture and the nuances that exist within us. So black skin versus light skin will get more eyes as opposed to any lectures that a BB Toomey would push or God Kush TV. Is there a market for it? People more inclined to watch the Housewives of Atlanta as opposed to any documentary on Frontline PBS. Because if you're watching something on Frontline PBS, you have to personally bring something to the table where there's intellectual rigor or where there's historical references and knowledge or just a greater understanding of what's going on in the world, as opposed to watching the Housewives at Atlanta where we just fighting over a fork and a spoon. You know, this is right. This is where many people are. Is there a market for it? And also, and the other issue is, and I go talk about the positive side of this now. I just want to talk on the practicalities that exist when you're talking about these kinds of things. I the any movie or any TV show is made not for the TV show or the script or the storyline or anything like that. You are made to entice advertisers to financially support the viewing of your show in turn because they will promote their products and services. So if they know that they are not getting enough eyes in terms of this positivity you're pushing out there, they're not going to put money into your programming. They're not going to do it because our people, unfortunately, are attracted to negative things. We are attracted to the skullduggeries of existence. We are very low vibrational. It's our work to try to bring up the level and mentality of our people, and it's a very difficult work. It's almost like sitting in a 400-year classroom and being taught that when we find you in Africa, we find you with a bone in our nose. And we are trying to teach against that education that we've been indoctrinated with for 400 years. That's an extremely difficult task. Extremely difficult. Because our people, I feel sometimes are stubborn in their wanting to embrace the negative side of humanity and ignorances. And it'll keep them in the same position forever and ever and ever. But I say there's a silver lining to it. Because the good part of it is, yes, you do have good programming coming out of with Nigerian Nollywood. You do have good programming that's coming out of there with different messages. You do have good programming coming out of North America, as the brothers have suggested. But I feel like the advertisers and the people who support these programs, they have to put their money behind it so it can be continuous to start to promote it more. But our culture itself has to change, and we have to develop a taste for it. And I don't think that we develop a taste for it right now. We don't have a taste for it. The ratchetness is more tasty than in terms of the positive that messages is being put out there. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. We in a cultural war. We in a black cultural war. And I think that the brothers, the intellectual, the smart brothers need to understand that we are in a cultural war and we have to change. It's very difficult, but we have to change the perceptions in terms of what our people, them appetites and tastes are. And unfortunately, at this current time, it's not the best kind of thing. We like fast food. We like that chicken. We like that McDonald's kind of imagery. Yeah, we like that fast food kind of shit. We're gonna kill us quickly. But I'll stop there, man. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there.
You know, Buana, what you just said, albeit said in a much better way, But that's a lot of what Azulis be talking about too. When I speak to Arzuli off of this platform, when I speak to him in person and stuff, and I say, hey man, we need guys like you to produce conscious films that have positive propaganda for, Black people's African people. The first thing he has said to me in the past on numerous occasions when I brought it up is, who's going to buy it? Who's going to, yeah, you could make it, but who's going to buy it? And that's, I always have this mentality of, if you build it, the people will come, the people will show up. But it's the same, the same way you say our folks are on some low vibrational stuff. That's essentially what he said. He just says it differently. You know what I mean? And that's the conundrum. The conundrum is, you could put in all this work. You're going to probably have to put in a lot of your personal capital to make these things happen. But will our people, and will enough of, and in fact, not just our people, because here's the thing, like Webb said earlier in the chat, there is a niche. There is a niche market for consciousness. But even in consciousness, and this is the part that really depresses me, even in consciousness, we have folks who won't put their monies where their mouth is. You'll go out there and make the greatest Black film series, and conscious folks won't do it. As a matter of fact, I won't call the name of the person. I remember a guy put out a conscious DVD some years ago, went to a Black expo, and their so-called conscious dudes, they're selling bootlegs of his DVD. And it's like, man, come on, man. You're getting, now in that guy's case, it was some bullshit DVD, but I'm saying, in general, right? Like, will our people really, and I'm not shitting on our people, but I'm just being real, will our people really go and put their dollars up to support these things? Before I pass it on to the next person, Afro Native World asked this question. He said, folks say that's why Umar mixes in the nonsense for the entertainment factor. What y'all think? I absolutely think that's what Umar is doing. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing that to, politics over Punani and consciousness over. He knows what he's doing, and he's pandering to Black women, to be honest, for the most part. But he's also doing that entertainment thing, and I think, unfortunately, the reason why our numbers stay kind of, we don't do that shit. We don't do the entertainment thing. We're trying to have a serious conversation here, which is one of my issues with Umar. Let's have a serious friggin' conversation. But he's trying to, and I guess successfully, he's pushing himself to get a little bit of that entertainment, those entertainment numbers. And it's a shame.
I don't think Umar's successful, though, honestly. I think Umar is more of a laughing stock. I mean, he's almost like a parody. I don't think that Umar is really as successful as we think he is. Yeah, he comes from the Breakfast Club and he says certain things, but I mean, at this point, most people aren't laughing with him; they're laughing at him. I think they see him as more of a cautionary tale or someone to entertain. But I don't think that Umar is really doing anything. I mean, again, where's his school at? He's still building the school. He's been building the school for 10 years, So people, he's almost like a punchline, if you ask me. I think he's part of the problem, actually.
Okay.
Who is Dr. Johnson? By the way, I hope, brother, my big brother Bakari, come on, because he going crazy in the shot right now. But needless to say, who is Dr. Johnson accountable to? Who checks and critiques the things that he says? If I make a statement on this panel that is out of line or is not really in going with many of the statements that I have made, I can get checked from Razuli, I can get checked from Brother Bakari, I can get checked from Koku, I can get checked from friggin' Trigger Happy, all these, I can get checked from Oni. They're gonna say, no, Bwana, you wrong, and here's why. He's a one-man organization. He's accountable to nobody. This is the same problem I have with the Reed Bashir now. Now, even though that they don't have any organization, which is a red flag for me. They never, well, brother, Dr. Johnson said that he was a part of UNIA, but they are one man organization. There's no checks and balances. He's accountable to no one but his own words. You know what I mean? And I have issues with that. I have big time issues with that. You want people to follow you, but you are accountable to no one. That does not sit well with me at all. It doesn't work that way. The time of the messianic one person savioress figure coming down from the mountaintops to save black people is over. That is done. In fact, it should have never been around. Should have never been around. But since we chase after that idea no longer is relevant, no longer exists. There must be some accounting for some of the things that you profess publicly, especially when you put yourself in the place of any kind of black leadership. Because even Donald Trump, as bombastic as he is being held accountable for the things that he is doing right now among his peers. There must be some accounting. You can't just sit back as this unilateral person, this savior-ass person, and dictate to black folks what you feel, how they're supposed to be acting and reacting and responding and doing things like that. The time of that is done. That's over. But I'll stop. We are adults. We can think too. We can think too. But I'll leave it, man. I'm ranting. I'll leave it.
No, it's all good. Let's welcome in our brother Bakari. I guess he heard his name called a few times. He showed up. Bakari, how are you this week?
I'm good, man. I ain't even hear nobody. I just heard Bawana call my name. And well, what's going on, everybody on the panel and in the chat?
Good.
But like I put in the chat, that's a great question, Bawana. Is there a market for it? I'm a firm believer in looking in the mirror. I did a lot today looking in the mirror. And I ain't taking no shots at nobody. But if you just look at this panel, most of the time, this panel will accept the fact that they're not shit and won't say nothing. But will push back if I say something positive about anything black. Then we like to say, well, but I'm not for all black people. We always figuring out a way to find the negative and not to deal with one another. So if you had something positive, because everybody don't think this, and I heard you say some conscious-minded brother, right? So if we had something that some people would consider positive, there's going to be a lot of our people that's going to say something. Positivity don't bring money in for black people. Come on, Koku. That you saw that thread I sent you on Twitter, right?
Yes, sir. I responded.
I know you did. Did you see how black people was just talking about black people and talking about how great it is? It's just so much better if you go to Colorado. It's better if you're around the white people because it's better for you.
Yeah, a shame.
It was not white people coming into an HBCU Twitter space shitting on black people. It was black people. I know, yeah, but they're the HBCU. See, they just teach you to get a job. See, those are black people too. Yeah, but they just teach you to get a job. See, motherfucker, y'all, pardon my French, y'all done had jobs. So who taught you to get one? We look for reasons not to deal with black folk. You know, the black woman is go, black, we all use ain't shit. But that's who we are. See, it's better if you're around the white. So these same pro-black people who saying they're pro-black, for the most part, and I've said it 100 times, I question their pro-blackness. Because all of the black people that teach and talk about white supremacy, they have the white supremacy talking points. I think the biggest white supremacy, I don't even believe in it, but the biggest white supremacy as far as social media is black people. It's black people doing white folks work on social media. That's who it is. So is there a market for somebody to come in and say something positive? Is there a market for black people to come in and spin positive propaganda about black people? I'm not sure. I don't think if it is a market, it's a very small market. It's not a big market. It's a small market. But to answer your question, yes, we need more TV stations and we need more radio stations. But like I still say, it's a small market for positivity and it's a small market for positivity with black people, especially right now at this height. On that, I am like,
Brother, I want to respond to that. Brother Bakari,
Appreciate that, Bakari.
sorry,
Appreciate that, Bakari. And real quick, yeah, that post was wild. So on Twitter, you guys could go on and see if you follow me and Bakari on Twitter. You'll see it. You know, there's this kid who was on Skip Bayless and them show the other morning. An offensive tackle, I think. He's going to Colorado where Deion Sanders is the coach now. And a bunch of people in the chat, Bakari alerted me to it, a bunch of people in the chat are saying stuff like, well, so what if he chose Colorado? He's trying to better himself. Why are you guys hating on him trying to better himself? And my thing is like, why you got to go around white people to better yourself? It's strange. It's real goofy, actually. You know, but Bwan, you want to say something to Bakari?
Let me say something right quick before you go, Bwan. I'm gonna say something about that thread right quick. The point is what he said was, I chose to go to a place, and I didn't even care about what the kid went. I was talking about the grown-ups just coming in, shitting away. I planned to go somewhere. I wanted to go somewhere and play for a coach and with people that look like me. You go into a city that's 1% black in a school population that's 2% student population, 2% black. But you're going somewhere with people that look like you. You can't even make it make sense.
And this is for me, this is the importance of a man like Brother Bakari. And this is why I beg him to stay on social media, because he would say that he hear sometimes, even on this panel, that people say talk slick shit, that is very offensive. And it might get past me. It might get past you, Koku. It might get past Black Steel. It don't get past Brother Bakari. So he gonna raise the issue about it, because we working not necessarily as individuals, but we working as brothers who hold each other accountable. Where that won't, if his voice is not there, it'll get past. But if he is there, if his presence is there, he's not gonna let it get past, and he can tell us why it shouldn't be allowable. In the same space, if I'm hearing money issues discussed or business issues discussed, and it doesn't sound sensible to me, this is the reason my voice is here. So we ain't working as individuals, we're working as a unit. We're working as a unit, and this is the problem I have with brothers like Umar Johnson to the world, because no one holds them accountable. No one holds them accountable. No one is there to say, Doc, you wrong about these things. Here's why. And it won't take for him to say, you know what, you are right. Let me change my language. Let me change the way I move it. Let me move this way. No one is doing that for him. So this is the reason why I say that these are important. The importance of us as men coming together and holding each other accountable. I am not perfect. Neither is Koku, neither is Brother Bakari. But our strength lies in where we can find the gaps and fill the gaps in assistance and helping each other in moving forward and making these kinds of platforms better. Because when the youngest listen to these panels, they'll see and hear that yes, these brothers them wasn't perfect, but they had the ability to work together. They had the ability to do it, because they fill the gaps of their shortfalls. And this is like I say, this is the reason why I beg brothers like Brother Bakari not to leave social media, even though sometimes he is frustrated with it. But I'll leave it there.
With that said, last but not least, let's go to our brother Oni. Do we need more black TV networks? Black, and take it away.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we should have more black TV networks, but I like how the question says black, and like we should add something to it, like addendum. Like, is it just because if you have more black, like which blacks are we talking about? Is it the Sukihanas? Is it the I actually don't recognize anybody else on this picture. But And I also agree with RBG in the sense that that's not even dark skin. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know if that's considered light skin. I feel like those might just be mulattoes or not even black people at all. Like not even mulattoes at all.
I was thinking that the photographer, the person who put that together, lightened them up actually.
Oh, okay. That's possible. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know because their features look like I don't know. I can't. Yeah, maybe like like the girl on the top, she kind of looks like she might be lightened. But what I was saying was, what you said, in fact, about the whole media and all that kind of stuff. Because I was actually having this conversation, right when the first broadcast, cut me off at that point where I was like, yeah, man, like people are not patronizing as much to the point where you want to put a lot of time and energy into something, like we're all getting old, we're getting old. Time is of the essence. Time is precious, and there are a lot there are a lot more fun things to do than like write a book that people aren't reading. But at the same time, I was telling this person, because I'm writing it in my book. I'm writing it in my book. Uh, with different ideas that I'm having, and sometimes you come across these ideas and you're like, that could be a book on its own, you know. But you obviously don't. You can't entertain that. What you can entertain though is fiction or video games, right? But in fiction, because that was the first book I wrote. You all know about Zubiri. In the first book I wrote, it it was kind of modeled after Martin Delaney's Blake or the Huts of America, and then also but this book is called from
God
Superman. Come again?
From Superman to God, or God to Superman?
Yeah, from Superman to Man. And it was written by this brother, but basically those two books, what they do is they have these protagonists, right, who get into these situations and then engage in debates, like socio-political, philosophical debates. And so, like, for instance, in Blake or the Huts of America, they talk about, well, why should the mulatto be loyal to the black cause? And Martin Delaney puts out an argument saying, well, if you raise the black side, then the mulatto will be raised up intrinsically because he's only brought down by his black side or something like that. But they put it inside of a nice argument, debate kind of situation, and different debates, a whole bunch of debates, to the point where it's like, yes, and people can enjoy that, and you realize that our habit of lectures and debates, like just straight up debates, no entertainment, no fluff, just straight up debates. Our method of that is not how this white boy has so many of us in a bind. Like, it's not because I mean, of course, I'm not saying that he never showed us any documentaries. He obviously watched documentaries. We obviously went through their public fool system, right? But when you get out of the public fool system, you're still, you're still in love with Joe Biden or some shit. Why? Right? And a part of it is that you see the subtlety that they do inside of their own entertainment. They have the stable white family in their entertainment. They have the like the show I think about sometimes is that not Good Times, but the one with the guys on top of the building, where he walked kind of funny. But anyway, and I'm just trying to rest, so I don't know the name. But in that one, you had the neighbor who was like a black woman with a white man, and they just kind of push onto you subtly, hey, this is the way, this is the good thing, this is what they want. And that's what we should be doing in reverse. We should be having those programs that you don't have to be conscious on the nose. Because like you were saying with Azuli, and he's like, hey, ain't nobody really looking for conscious on the nose material, because I remember you showed Azuli's movie, and it was like, it was conscious on the nose, it was like so on and so forth. But like, what we want is that conscious subtlety, you know, kind of like the Jeffersons, like that conscious subtlety, kind of like Bill Cosby's thing, you know, where it's like he's not, oh, get your family together, have a good family. No, he's showing you a respectable wife and a respectable husband and a family dynamic within, and the kids are all being pressured to go to school and not be fools, you know. And I mean, I didn't watch the Cosby Show myself, but what I'm saying is that you know, people watching that say, oh, I want a stable family, oh, I want a marriage, oh, I want a relationship. That's what you want people to do. You want people to read your novel, play your video game, or watch your movie, or watch your TV show. You want them to come away with, I want that for myself. But here's where the bigger issue comes into play. A lot of us are not even articulating what it is we want. You know, what it is, like, what makes a good family? What makes a good household? As he said, what was my movie about? Wait, wasn't it the elephant? It was the elephant thing? I can't remember. What that was the name of it?
The Raging Elephant, yeah.
Yeah, the Raging Elephant. Yeah. What was it about? I know. I mean, I remember the guy went to the store. I mean, I know there was Orisha in there. It was like heavy on the Orishas. But like it was a long time that we only watched it once. But I mean, I can't say off the top of my head. But I mean, I can barely say anything on top of my head. I don't even remember the Jeffersons. but my thing is that on that note, you want that, you want people to have that that's something, because here we don't even know what we want. So to the point where this thing right here, we see dark skin versus light skin. That's an actual, like, that's where we are. A lot of us are in terms of what we want in a relationship, right? I want a dark skinned girl, or I want a light skinned girl. Like, that's the essence of what we want, of where we at. Oh, I want a baddie, or I want a freak. That's all. And so we have to evolve, like, not evolve, but we have to get to the stage where we say, oh, you know what? I want a marriage. I want a good marriage. And in so much as I want a good marriage, right? What does it entail for a good marriage? Because unfortunately, a lot of us, like, we can have discussions on what a good marriage entails, and a lot of us will be disagreeing with each other. And I'm at the point where I realize that we are so heavily propagandized that a lot of what we consider to be good relationships are actually bad relationships. You know? And I mean, I don't know. I see some message. Zuli's here. I see some message, but what I'm saying is that I was in this bar the other day, and this lady was playing a custom music, and the songs were just atrocious. But the songs weren't necessarily atrocious, but the there was a DJ, like it was like a live performance, but it wasn't a live performance, a recording of a live performance. And the DJ was just like, hey, if your man cheats on you, then cheat on him with one of his N-words, you know, or you know, someone close to him, or my ladies with, you know, who have their own this, their own that, blah blah. And it's like, what is the structure that you're trying to embolden among our people, right? When we realize that we're not even, like, we don't even have set qualities for what a good family is, what a good household is, what makes a good marriage. That's where we already have a problem. So if you're going to do something with your literature, with your entertainment, you should do that kind of thing. And as far as, like, is Boondocks Settle conscious, you know, again, Boondocks doesn't really communicate a healthy family structure anyway. Like, Boondocks was making fun of Tom, but I you know, if you guys know the show, there's a few characters, and Tom was but basically Tom's the only married person in the Boondocks, and he's basically married to a white woman. And of course, you know, the joke is he's an Uncle Tom, or he's like W. Du Bois. But the reality is, by not showing these black kids with a family, right, you're not really doing any sort of proper propaganda. You're like, the whole purpose of your propaganda is to put that good image into people's heads. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing anything. And I'll just fit with this. The guy who makes the Boondocks, Aaron McGruder, they say he hated black people, and I thought so too when I was younger.
Oh, that's interesting. Something else you said in there too was interesting, but I forgot it now. I'll think about it a bit further. In the meantime, let's welcome in the aforementioned Azuliism. Azuli, how are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good. I think it was a reason why the spirit sent me here, because I just tuned in when I heard Oni said my shit was on the nose. First of all, that's one of the greatest disrespect to ever say, to say somebody. Well, let me not say that. To say my movie was on the nose, that's like saying the Bill Cosby show wasn't on the nose. This Bill Cosby show was super on the nose. Go to school, become a lawyer, become a doctor, or whatever, and be on the nose. That's why I asked you, what was my movie about? I bet you go watch it, you're gonna tell me something different than what it was. But
Azuli, did your sound cut out or did you stop talking?
nah, can you hear me? Hello?
No, I can hear you.
We can hear him. He just wasn't saying anything.
Okay.
Coco just can't hear you.
So I'm saying this: if you ask Boana saw the movie more than once, and okay, I don't want to take this as a personal attack, but I felt a little offended. But that's not here why I'm here.
I know, right? Like, it's good.
Nah, to say your movie was on the nose is very like thing in the film industry, but it's neither here nor there. But
I
I'm
ain't
here to
really like
say
that,
this.
boss.
But I'm here
Chillax,
to
man.
say this: a lot of us, you're not willing to invest. People, okay, black people don't see themselves as righteous people, so they're not gonna invest in righteous content with their image. Black people want to invest in a movie, and then knowing the situation that we're in, or how much money I'm gonna make out of this, how much fame I'm gonna get out of this. For somebody to say, oh, how come being in the film industry is not cheap? It might be cheaper now because you don't have to shoot on film. It might be cheaper now because you don't have to edit on film. You could edit on you shoot digitally and you edit digitally now. But the majority of black people don't even know what's conscious content. Black people will be like, oh, what's that TV show? Blackish is respectable content. So black people don't even want to invest in their own image. So you know what they say? Oh, Hollywood should write this. Disney should write this. Y'all was going crazy for fucking Little Mermaid. Why you could write your own content about mermaid stories. So for this thing about black and I think that what's his name did? Dog versus light skin. It's going on in the community. What y'all ashamed about? That's y'all. Nick Cannon is just putting a mirror to your faces. So are there any brothers? Are there any people who are doing stuff that are like that respectable to the black image? Yes. But it's hard in the film business. There's a couple of shows here and there. Are there brothers that want to do this? Yeah. But the problem is a lot of black people are capitalist minded. If I give you 10,000, how much am I getting back? If I'm not making 20,000, I'm not giving it. Meanwhile, other TV shows, other movies are trashing in Hollywood. They put 4 million and they spend 20 million and only make 10 million. You know what happened? They keep making movies. Talk about certain stuff needs to be the Bill Cosby show. What else? Yeah, you guys are coming over that, but you know what y'all listen to? Y'all listen to the drill music. Y'all listen to the rap music that's destroying us. And not only that, all the Africans and the Caribbean, all their music about fucking and stunting, just like the rap music. So deep down, you black people have this immorality in them. You claim white people put that image, but you love that image. You're not willing to be like, you know what? I see this brother right here. I give you 100K. Whether I get it back, there's a bigger cause. But you know what? It's not their fault because economically, even though they say black people have the greatest black spending power, they don't spend that shit on none of their images. Unless they are told what to do. You know what's coming out again? This December? The Color Purple. Yeah, niggas are gonna go there and support that shit. Meanwhile, that movie was one of the most disrespectful stuff to black men. So all we talk about all this shit, oh, we wanted this. Shut up. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all just want to talk. They got people I read here who be like, you know what? I could write a script about us. And you know what you're going to say? It's on their nose. Or it's on some other shit. The house is burning. Of course that shit got to be on the nose. You want something to, you want writers to be subtle, right? I got it. Because you know what? The brother only said, which is true. I was shooting a commercial for this. I'm not going to say for this company. And I wrote a script for it. They said, nah, we don't want that shit to be all over the place. We want it to blend in. Because in their mind, they know if it's blend in, it'll be easier for you to put it in your mind. It's like the movie Inception. They told the guy, yo, I want him to not buy the company. You know what they said? No, we can't make him. If we make it too obvious, he's gonna fight against us. We gotta make it seem that he's the one that came up with it. And just like it's been doing to you, all these fake characters that you see on TV. I saw this movie, one of the most Black Cake. All of that was written by a lot of black people. It makes. Have anybody seen Black Cake? The TV show?
I saw it, yep.
Who's in there? The Asian man came through and got your chick. He's in Jamaica making business. The woman in there, the mother, is sexually fluid. She's getting raped from left to right, mistreated by men. So I'm just saying this. Are you guys really invested in your image? Stop the cap. Because the one thing we could be criticizing this show, but what are you doing? And I'm not talking to us like regular people. Where are the big time Hollywood Negroes making millions and millions? Where's the studios? Because deep down we know they're weak as shit. They don't control shit. Where they at? Where they at? Black writers, black creative who are not, they can't even, where are the black writing companies, the black production companies, the black distribution companies? And you know what? Come here. We got it. Where they at? So now we mad at Nick Cannon for doing this? What do we expect from Nick Cannon anyway? What is expected, bro? What is expected? What is expected? So I'm just saying this. There's a lot of black people out there who want to change, who want to write creative stuff. But you know what I saw? There's a lot of ego going on. Oh, you came up with it. I got to write this. I got to write this. Nobody want to stay in their lane. Are you a writer? I write this, and I'm going to change it to make it do what I want it to do. But you're a director. But you're a producer. So until we fix that thing inside of us that we feel so insecure, black people are very immoral, bro. And I'm tired of y'all saying, so what? Nick Cannon is wrong, but in everyday life, y'all be looking at dark-skinned chicks, be like, oh, they ugly? Y'all be saying, oh, I want my shorty with a long perm? There's a video that I sent to go out on. No, this black girl was talking about, oh, she feels better when she got a weave on. Sometimes some of the shit that's on VH1, all these reality shows, why are they popular? Black people are watching them. Everybody else is watching them. Stop watching those shit. I bet you mad people went to that shit that Nick Cannon did, though. So I'm saying this to say, there's a lot of people out there, black people who want to change the image. There's a lot of black people who got money. You know who they're spending the money on? Bill Carlson. That nigga. You know who they say? Fashion Fit. Tariq. That's who they're giving the money to. Knowing damn well that guy is a scammer, is creating devices within us. Who they give the money to? Every day they'll give $100 to this YouTuber, and people be like, yo, if let's use Kai Cenat for example. He's like a popular YouTuber. People be like, yo, why don't you do the same thing as him? What? Do the same thing as what? You think people want to hear it? How many people is listening to us right now? Everybody has a dream of escapism. They want to be rich. All the people we're criticizing, y'all just want to be just like them. Drive a Bentley, fuck 10 or 7 bitches, have on 80 houses, and stunt on people. While you can use that money and trying to change your image. Propaganda is one of the most important stuff ever. I watch how Spike Lee let Quentin Tarantino come out with a movie like Django Unchained. And you talking about, you the man about black people's rights. You fighting for black people. How? If we want to talk, Spike Lee's movies, most of Spike Lee's movies are technically on the nose. Yeah, let's say, only say right. Make this shit entertaining. Put some action in there. So I'm saying this to say, it's not us. Those big Hollywood people, the Denzels, the Jamie Foxx. Where are their production company? You know who has one? Freaking Tyler Perry. You see what he's putting out? Not only is he putting out mediocre content, if you look at how the thing is shot, they even play him on his stuff. You have a big production studio, and this is the type of stuff you're putting out, bro? Y'all got dressed up 24/7. Oh, let's go see Wakanda. Wakanda, Black Panther. Black Panther was written by, not even by black people. When a nigga writes some shit about Ogu, about Shingo, y'all niggas is nowhere to be found. When a nigga write something about, oh, let a nigga write something, say a black nigga came to America first. All y'all niggas gonna be like, no, that's a lie. He's pseudo.
Azuli, do me a favor. Let's not refer to our folks as the N-word, all right?
So, okay, go ahead, Azuli, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that,
man, you need to smoke some, bro. You kind of turned right now, bro. You all right?
No, it's not about being turned, man.
Man.
I'm not turned. Turned about what? I'm just saying. Let's not be hypocritical. Yo,
no. I understand what you're saying. I do understand.
I'm not snapping. I'm not saying. Maybe it's triggering me because I'm a creative, and I don't want to write stupid shit about us. And I don't see how I'm gonna make money if I don't write stupid shit about us. If I'm ever gonna maybe make money and this fucking thing, you gotta invest in your image, bro. Black people gotta. It's deeper than this. We can't just write. We can't just write movies. I guess we could write some movies for the fun of it. Yeah. I guess you could write a little comedy here and there. I'm not saying you can't, but the house is burning.
Agree completely. And let me say this too, also, Azuli, to your point. We live in an anti-black society. Let's just let that be known. The world we live in is anti-black. I know we give a lot of things to say about the Afro pessimists, but they are correct in that the world itself is anti-black. So are we really surprised that black people have internalized all of the stuff you're saying? Even I recognize it even within myself. So it takes a lot for us to really confront that and challenge that. So we can't really be shocked at the media that Black people are taking into each other, because it's everywhere. You're saturated from it. From the womb to the tomb, you're bombarded with negative images of Black people. Black people are this, dark skin is, I mean, listen, I'm an educator. All right. The things I hear, I have a young girl in my class who is Nigerian. They call the things I hear them say to that girl. And then she turns around and she says it back to them. They call her Blackie. They say, oh, if you cut the lights off and you close your eyes, we can't see you. So this type of negativity hits our people constantly. It takes a real concentrated effort to overcome that type of propaganda within our people. So while I understand your anger and I understand your passion and I respect it to the utmost, I also understand how our people got into it, because it's a constant bombardment that we have, and we internalize it as adults, as children, as parents, as educators, as when we go throughout our jobs throughout the day. It's just so much that it really takes a lot of effort, and I think we underestimate how much effort it's going to take for us to counteract this nonsense that we're constantly hit with. I'll leave it there.
Hey, let me speak right quick. Let me speak right quick, right? Because I'm finna go, right? I'm gonna get off, right? But I'm gonna say this. Man, this dude said he don't want to write nothing negative about Black. That's all he do is sit here and talk shit about Black people. And what I was just talking about is what Black Steel just displayed. Boy, if that was me saying something about a Black business or an HBCU or Black women, there is no understanding. That's what I'm talking about. This nonsense he just spewed about Black people. Get all of this. I understand, and figure out a way. That's one of the problems. What if that was me up here saying something positive? Nobody understands. This dude ain't never said nothing positive about Black people. Then say he don't want to write nothing. I didn't talk when you was talking. Let me finish.
All right.
Then say he don't want to write nothing negative about Black people. Listen to the nonsense he say about Black people. Who would expect him to write anything else? Y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of N-words. Y'all ain't ish. Come on, dude, he talking? What it is, double talking out the side of his neck. He's confused, and he's trying to confuse other people. Black still fucking confused, and anybody else that finna tiptoe around this nonsense is damn confused. And I mean that. Because don't nobody expect nothing. I ain't gonna say don't nobody. Obviously, y'all do. I don't expect nothing else from him but to say something negative. That's it. If he writes something, it's gonna be negative. He ain't never said nothing positive. Ever.
So, Bakari, I'm not saying I agree with what he said. I said I understand his frustration. I'm not saying that what he said negative about Black people. I understand that. I understand him being frustration, but I understand that frustration should not be pointed at Black people. It should be focused towards our enemy and the people who created this mess in the first place. And if you say something positive about Black people, I'm gonna support it. I don't think that we're just gonna say just negative stuff about Black people just for the sake of being negative. But I understand where the negativity is coming from. Like I said, we're bombarded with this stuff at an early age. So I'm not supporting or understanding the negative, but I understand where it's coming from, and I understand his frustration when you are somebody who's creative and you want to create positive images for Black people, and that gets ignored over the nonsense that's put out. So no, I definitely understand his frustration, but I also understand where that frustration needs to be focused at. It doesn't need to be focused on Black people. It needs to be focused on our common oppressor. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
if you can understand that through that, what he's talked, the way he talk about Black people, man, if I sit here right now and say something positive about a Black woman, you gonna get mad. God forbid if I say something positive about Jackson State. God
Not
forbid.
me.
Wait a minute, because you do it all the time. And the people on the panel here, because all y'all do it. The only one that don't is owning. All of you do it. Y'all take this. I don't understand how every time somebody talk about a black person, every time they talk about black people, it's negative. No, I don't understand that. I don't understand that, but I can tell you what y'all don't understand. You don't understand because what came out your mouth, Black Steel, was, I'm not for all black people, so you shouldn't stand up for all black people. But you standing up for the person that done told you you ain't worth a damn. Y'all ain't nothing but N-words. Talk about you like a damn dog. But that gets stood up for. I don't deal with weakness, dude. I'm being honest. So when I say I don't deal with a lot of people on social media no more, I don't. Because see, I really live this life fucking for real. And I hear everybody on here talk, and I'm just being honest. This dude talking about writing a damn play or whatever the hell he want to write. I want to say something. I want to say something positive about the black community. No, you don't. Because if you did, you have you just talked for 38.2 minutes. Didn't say nothing positive. So if you wanted to write something positive about the black community, you could have said something positive. Like, I don't understand why black people think it's okay to just be disrespected, but it's not okay to show any respect to black people. And I'm talking to these so-called, I don't even like to use this word. This is why I tell people don't call me conscious, because I'm not conscious. So I'm something else. Whatever the hell it is, it ain't conscious. But I tell people, don't group me in that, because I'm talking to so-called conscious black people now. And I'm telling you what you stand up for. And you can just go back and listen to this panel over and over and over and over and over. He ain't never said nothing positive about black people, but we understand that frustration. God damn. Go ahead,
You gotta learn some nuance. All right, you gotta learn nuance, bro. Because I really, wow. Okay, whatever.
Can I? Okay.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? Keep it a little bit brief for me. I know people talk for a long time, but I want to get one more topic with you tonight.
I'll try to be brief. So let me try to see if I can. Well, I know everybody tempers are high. So this discussion, I started a discussion tonight, basically saying that tonight one of my Haitian brothers came over here to fix my washing machine. He is, Brother Wakari is an advocate, big advocate of supporting black business. I could have very well called the white man who have a business in terms of the washing machine. He would overcharge me, but I choose and decide to give my money to a black man on a Saturday night supporting black business because that's the initiative that he suggested. In terms of, I won't always get it right and I won't always get it wrong, but I live in the exceptions, in the land of the exceptions. Erzuli suggested that there is no positive messages out there in terms of what our market wants. But I am reminded of a person like Bill Cosby, who for many years had the Bill Cosby show, in which many black people was attracted to watching. And what spilled from that was the increase of black HBCUs increased dramatically because of his presence in watching that structure on television. So if that exception exists, that means to me that it's possible to create a narrative that would attract a certain amount of black people, that people want to watch positive images and see these things and move forward with it. He also talked about in terms of the music that we listen to. Yes, and like I say, I am not gonna blind my eyes and put blinders on. The vibe cartels of the world existed and that attracted a certain audience. But I also reminded of the people who I listen to, like the Buju Banton, like Richie Spice, like Sizzla Kalanji. What about these audiences? And sometimes, yes, when they go to Europe, they have mass white audiences because it look like only white people supporting them. But they have a large black following as well. So they able to galvanize the people are attracted to their artistry as well. The black people are attracted to their artistry as well. People forget them in terms of looking at the big star, the big people, the ignorance is being pushed in certain audiences. I see that I look at the positive aspect. I try my best, not always, to look at is there a lane? Is there a lane for positive artists or artistry to be created out there, and people would be attracted towards it. And I have seen it done not only in America but in the Caribbean as well. So now I have a choice to say, well, am I going to push the nonsense out there where it's going to attract the largest amount of people as a capitalist because I'm trying to make money, or am I going to push music that I respect, that I believe in, that I believe in? Am I going to push imagery? Am I going to write stories that I believe in, and regardless of what the bottom line are going to be? I am just going to push this because this is what I believe in. Go ask Haile Garima. Go ask Haile Garima, who was in Washington, D.C. He's been fighting with Hollywood for many, many years because he only makes the images that you all reference, the positive images. He's been able to create a lane for himself. Is he going to be wealthy like the Spike Lees of the world? Probably not. But he's created a niche and an industry for himself. Are we trying to be popularists? Were we trying to get the largest amount of people to carry our message? Or are we trying to send a message into the universe that is positive, regardless of whether it hit 1 million people or 50,000 people or 100 people? This is the choices given to us. This is the choices given to us. But I like I say, I look at life with the exclusion in reference to what Black Steel was saying, that we live in an economy that is very anti-black, but there are always exceptions that exist, and I try to find out how did the exception exist and what attracts people to the exception, and I try to work within that framework. But I'll end it there to just to be brief, just to be brief.
All right. Good conversation. Passionate for sure. But for time's sake, I want to move on and should be topic number 4. This will be the last topic for the night. Even though I started a little bit late, I'm not going to prolong it. Should be topic number 4 says, is he correct? Is he correct? This takes us to YouTube. Let me share this with you guys. I'm going to play it a couple of times because, of course, we won't jump in at the right point. So just bear that in mind.
I already know it's not right.
Crime oriented, and they're not being corrected. It's not because of our color. It's due to the lack of more character, like a belief in God in the black community. Like sometimes if I'm walking down the road and a white person grab their purse or Hispanic or whatever, I understand why they do it. Because it's known that black men and women, young black men and women, not all, but most, that they snatch purses. They deliberately go and do it. Even Jesse Jackson said that when he's walking down the road and he hear footsteps behind, when he look back and see that it's white people, he feel better. And so even black people know what we're talking about. It's not because we're black, it's because most blacks are so violent. They're crime oriented, and they're not being corrected. It's not because of our color. It's due to the lack of more character, like a belief in God in the black community. Like sometimes if I'm walking down the road and a white person grab their purse or Hispanic or whatever, I understand why they do it. Because it's known that black men and women, young black men and women, not all, but most, that they snatch purses. They deliberately go and do it. Even Jesse Jackson said that when he's walking down the road and he hear footsteps behind, when he look back and see that it's white people, he feel better. And so even black people know what we're talking about. It's not because we're black, it's because most blacks are so violent. They're crime oriented, and they're not being corrected. It's not because of our color, it's due to the lack of more character, like a belief in God in the black community. Like sometimes.
Okay. I'm like Black Steel and Oni on this one. Once I see Jesse Lee Peterson, I already know it's some wrong shit. And now, after last week's convo, I know that if I see Thomas Sowell, it's some wrong shit because I learned something about him last week's discussion. With that said, because I know I know Bakari might jump off soon. Let me start with Bakari. Bakari, is he correct?
Ain't nothing right about Jesse Lee Peterson. Him being black ain't even right. Even Jesse Jackson said if he hear footsteps behind him and look over his shoulder and see it's a white person, he feel better. Because most, not all, but most of them are violent. They just snatch your purse and they'll do this and they'll do that. No. And that's not me saying there ain't no violence, right? But to say it's most, it's not most. But you know, I think he said he said he gonna write a positive play about black people too. All you gotta do is listen to what he say. It's real positive. I'm gonna listen.
Yo, Bakari, thanks for coming through.
But Bakari done cursed us all out for the night, so he's good. He's good.
No, I ain't cuss nobody out. I'm just being. I didn't cuss. I'm still here. I decided not to even go nowhere. And by the way, right now I'm proving Glen Island.
Oh, you what's Glen, Mississippi?
Yeah, that's the name of my town, Glen Island.
You in Glen Island right now?
No, but that's where I'm from, though.
Oh, okay. I thought you was in Mississippi. All right.
With that said, let me go to Oni next. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson. Whoa. But I mean, it is pretty funny to imagine this guy said he want to write a positive play. That'd be funny. He'd be like, Jesse Lee Peterson, come on. And I don't like this guy either. I ain't gonna hold you guys. I think he went on the FBA stuff too. The guy interviewing him, but no, he's not right. Now, as far as if you hear people behind you, real talk, I think young boys, like whatever race, right? A bunch of young boys in a group following behind you can be intimidating, because one thing that we have to realize is that, like, fighting a group of boys, you could do it, but if you don't do it successfully, well, first off, why are you fighting boys? But if you don't do it successfully, you could lose your life. You know what I mean? So I remember one time, because I remember, hearing this whole stereotype of people being afraid of young black boys. But I tell you, one time I saw this group of white boys walking towards me, and some of them had bats, and I kind of was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And cross the street. I know, I don't know what, but something about young boys, because the thing about young boys, is that they could be more athletic than you. You know what I mean? Like, they could be that they're like muscles. They could be muscular. They could be more athletic than you, and they could be on some fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could be. You don't know them because they aren't your kids. You know what I mean? So, like, whether they're black, whether they're white, if you don't know a bunch of like miniature athletes who are up to no good, yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. But like, as far as like, oh, they, black folk need God or religion or some shit, and obviously I wouldn't say that. And then I don't even know what else he's saying. Really, I don't fully understand what he's talking about. I ain't gonna hold you. I kind of tuned out. I don't know what he's trying to say, but I was just laughing about the idea of him doing plays. But I ain't trying to go on a brother like that. But anyway, yeah, no, I mean, is he correct? No. Like, what? What? No, of course he's not.
Thank you for that, Oni. Afro Native World in the chat says, y'all talked about anti-black and propaganda. He, meaning Jesse Peterson, is a living example of a black person that's ingested too much anti-black propaganda. With that said, let me hear from Urzuli next. Urzuli would say, by the way, Urzuli, they're likening you to Jesse Lee Peterson, by the way. So I think you got yourself here. Go ahead.
Who? Man, I don't give a F. I don't give a F who's liking me to him. I don't care. But I would say that he's correct in the way that he was sent to create that reality in people's mind. Like if you watch movies, like let's say the movie Juice, for example, the reason why when you see like what Oni said, the reason why sometimes when you see, let's focus on the black kids. Let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you see a group of black kids coming towards you and you feel away. You feel away because they created this stereotypical thing through movies, through books, through music, and then you ingest that. So what he's doing right now is creating a reality right now to imprint that in people's mind. He's creating that reality. So this man right here is sent to create that reality in our minds. Whether we want to say it's he's stupid or he's trash or whatever, but this man, it's like it's the same reason, and all the music, all the rap music, most of the rap music, they're talking about this pickpocketing. Not all rap music, but a lot of the popular one, they do that. And a movie like Juice, a lot of you said Juice is a hot movie, which I like. What's that movie? One of the movies that I felt was very did more disservice than it informed was Menace to Society. I think Menace to Society was just overly like greedy, grimy, overly violent. And when you watch that type in the movies, if you're a black person that just came from the Caribbean or from Africa at the age of 30 and you didn't grow up with these kids, you're gonna assume that some of that is some truth. So again, all of that ties back to creating the narrative of your image, because you know what people are not scared of? People are not scared of white men in suits, like the mobsters. They're not scared of a politician dressed in suits. They're not just of Eric. They're not scared of Eric Adam, who's probably who's a piece, whatever. They're not scared of that lady in Illinois, the city girl mayor. But then again, it's the fact that you could create this reality when Gas him up and Tan and I forgot what's the guy's name, the other guy's name. They were talking about that one wearing their show about what?
Jose.
They were talking about creating their reality and then putting it into you. So is Jesse Lee Peterson right? He's right in the way that he's creating that. He's right there. He's talking to this guy. He's putting that in mad people's mind. But is it true in reality? Nah. Most black people are not criminals. Most black people don't pick your pocket. If you look at the world, we all know who's the biggest pickpocketer in the world. So Jesse Lee Peterson is just like you just said, the lady said in the chat. He's an embodiment of that. Oh, black bro, that doesn't even make sense. But even if that's the truth, he's negating a lot of this thing that what create those pickpocketers? What create that thing in the young man's mind? He got to wear Jordan chains to feel like a man. Yes, the young man took that in and went and did the act, but who's conditioning him to think that? So at the end of the day, I'm not rocking with JC Lee or whatever, what, but I see what he's doing. He's like talking like he wants to criticize it, but he's actually putting it in people's mind. It's like what we talk about. There's no such thing as bad press. So I mean, Jesse Lee's gonna be Jesse Lee. I don't know where the hell he come from, but hey, it is what it is.
Appreciate that. Razuli, Afro Native World seems to agree. He says, true, the world's biggest thief has a sanitized image to Razuli's point about the white boy in the suit. Let's welcome in our boy, RBG, Real Black Gentleman. How are you this week?
I'm good. I'm straight. I just want to jump in, you know what I'm saying? I found out about this dude, man. He's a baddie boy. I'm gonna leave it like that. I always knew something about this dude was funny, but once I heard some of his background story, Yeah, he's batty, yo. If you can hear it in his voice, maybe that's what got it from me. But like, it's people like this that like these people like Jesse Lee. These aren't people who's vetted. You know what I'm saying? In the greater Black communities, these are people who like what's his like resume? Like what's his like credentials, yo? I mean, people talk, but like who's putting the screen in front of them? You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be the type of thing. It's like when you know, there's the old saying, like leave him who was in error. You know what I'm saying? I guess you know what I'm saying. That's an old African proverb. You know what I'm saying? And my problem is that I hear more and more about this dude. You know what I'm saying? Than not. I wonder if like my thing is like how does he in you know, we talk about like, you know, people, you know what I'm saying, who tend to be controversial, they'll be quick to, you know what I'm saying, be like free speech, but like you gotta absolutely think about what you're saying. We're not talking about like people who are arguing or nothing like that. This dude is like trying to craft like, you know what I'm saying, like dogma and like really like, you know, argue and defend that some stuff that really could be like broken down. Like it's people like these that need to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, if he's not saying anything, you know, positive for Black people, he's really like a wrecking ball. He just happens to be wearing a suit and kind of talk a little off and slow about it. But yo, like, you know, that be the trick because he's not, you know, conventional. He's a little tallish about his reckless self-hatred towards Black people, and you know, because you know his generalizations that he speaks of are like, who's putting him onto this? Who has been putting him onto this for the past 20 years? I mean, I know he's slow. I know he's like a whole tool of white folk. That's just what I know. And like anything that like could like actually like really like on like a hood level just roast him on like, you know what I'm saying, just like really just like, because a lot of his arguments need to just be crushed, and he needs, I mean, whether or not he feels bad about that, that's on him, but the arguments that he is making, I mean, they're not that hard. I mean, if he wants to smoke, my thing is like, it shouldn't be that hard to just like, you know what I'm saying, you know how he's going, you know how people are going to be, just, you know what I'm saying, like, look, he's not anywhere in like representing what Black people should be or anything like this. Like my whole thing is like people like this are like on in the first place, and they just need to be discredited in you know what I'm saying, amongst Black people. That's my thing. It's like this dude is not a contender for nothing. I mean, you understand why, like, you know what I'm saying, the idea that he's credible, you know what I'm saying, that's just, you know what I'm saying, the specter of these things, you know what I'm saying, need to be squashed. Like he's no good for Black people at all, like at all. At least, you know what I'm saying, he comes across as like clean, but like that's about it. But you know what I'm saying, this dude's a batty boy. Like I'm trying to say, he's no good. I'm going ahead and pass the mic.
Yeah, they call Jesse Lee. I think Jesse Lee background, I think he's a preacher actually. I think he's a reverend or something like that. And he, as Afro Native World posted here, he has this thing called Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, which is a nationally recognized 501c3 Christian nonprofit organization.
So he's a preacher. That's his things. Okay. Well, I mean, it's just a matter of just having stronger, you know what I'm saying, theological, you know what I'm saying, about shit. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying, crack him over the head and be like, son, like you need to be quiet about what you're talking about, because you don't know what you're talking about. You're not of nothing, the most of anything. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say that.
I'm going to invite Jesse Lee Peterson to join Shoot the Breeze. To join Shoot the Breeze one of these nights.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Do it!
Wait, wasn't he just shouting about his movie? I thought that
was... Do it. It won't be no difference than what's already been up here. Do it. You'll get more viewers.
Yeah. He has this thing as Afro Native World in the chat posted. He believes in this rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. He basically thinks like the Black man has been kind of whipped by the Black woman because he feels like his mother did him damage as a Black man, kind of impeded his progress. So yeah, so that's Jesse Lee Peterson. They caught him on some live stream or something. He screen shared. I heard Oni say this before too. You should never screen share. So this guy screen shared, and someone noticed one of the tabs was to like a gay porn site or something like that. So that's where the gay thing is coming from too. Plus, he just acts like it, to be quite frank. You know, that was RBG. Thank you for that, RBG. Let me go to Black Steel. Black Steel, what are your thoughts?
All right, so it's so fascinating to me how white people have been able to sanitize their image so well. White people, the European has committed genocide on every populated land mass on Earth. They're pushing the Earth to literally the brink of extinction. Okay, not just genocide, but complete omnicide. Black, white, the majority of child predators, the majority of pedophiles, the majority of murders are committed by the European. But yet, this buck dancing shoe shine boy is afraid of a group of black boys behind him. So I think we really got to study how white people have cleaned up their image so well to where that they're not only feared, but they are desired. And it's so funny. He said, he talks about black people having a connection to God. And it's so funny how Christianity and Islam and all these Judeo-Abrahamic belief systems have been pushing so much violence, so much colonization, so much dehumanizing ideas, but yet they're seen as desirable. Oh, you have to have a better relationship with God. It never ceases to amaze me how white people can come someplace and murder millions of people, lie about these people's contribution to history, but yet we'll turn around and we'll have these divestors and these swirlers talk about how much better white men are. Oh, the white man does this, and the white man really shows he cares. What the fuck is going on? It's so crazy to me. So of course he's not right, and he knows he's not right. But first, well, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he has completely swallowed the tripe he's pushing. But he has an audience, and black people don't support Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm pretty sure you ask the average black person in the street, they don't know. They have no idea who this person is. But I will say that he speaks to white people. White people have a need to have their racist views regurgitated by another black person. So in their way, it makes them feel better. Well, look, he's saying the same thing we are, and he looks like you, so we can't be wrong. They need to have their victims believe in their own propaganda. So just nothing he's saying, nothing he's ever said has been correct. But the fact that this man, he's pushed out there by certain, I'm pretty sure there's a white man funding him, or somebody in charge of some sort of media apparatus is giving him the capital and the studio and the camera in front of his face to say these things. But it's just amazing to me how white people have so skillfully been able to change the narrative. When just the idea of a super predator. Who went to Africa and murdered the Herero people in Namibia? Who came to America and slaughtered the native people? Who went to the Caribbean islands and wiped out the Taino? That was not black people. That was not black men. That was white men. That was Spanish and British and German and Portuguese. But yet, when we turn around and we want to make black people the face of crime, somebody said earlier, the white man in the suit isn't seen as a threat. When the white man in the suit is the one who is going to deny your grandma her insulin to live. He's going to buy your house and kick you out on the street and make you homeless. The white man in the suit is the one that you should be looking at. But yet we see this white man in a suit and we feel comfort somehow. It's almost like feeling as a sheep, you're comforted when you see the wolf, knowing the wolf is going to eat you. Oh, we feel so much. It's so skillful how they manipulated Black people's mind and their psyche through various means. I think we really got to study. Jesse Lee Peterson can be dismissed just like we can dismiss Sowell, just like we can dismiss Larry Elder. We can dismiss Candace Owens. We can dismiss because these people have no standing in the Black community. But it's really what he's saying. I think it to some Black people, it may resonate with them. And I think that we can have a conversation about crime in the Black community, right? But we have to understand where crime comes from, how crime is created, and what we see as criminal. When you have, like, for example, what happened in Detroit, Michigan, where they poisoned the water in Flint. I'm sorry, but Flint, Michigan, how that water was poisoned. None of these people were brought on criminal charges, even though he killed plenty of people, even though children were born with life-altering defects. But were their actions weren't seen as criminal. But if I were to go and knock over an ATM machine, I would probably get 20, 30 years in prison. But you can kill people, you can give children, birth defects, but your actions aren't seen as criminal. You can destroy people's lives with a few clicks of a button or a few marks on a piece of paper. That's not criminal. But if I jump the turnstile, getting on the subway, that's criminal. They'll throw the book at me for that. We really just have to really question what we see as criminal, and why is it that we allow these crackers to really set the tone for what's criminal and what's not. What behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Coco.
I appreciate that. I have one follow-up question at the end after I go through everyone. A quick follow-up inspired by Bakari's show last night where Oni was a guest on it. I'll bring it up in a few. Speaking of Oni, pro-Black perspective, what's it?
Oh, I already said something.
So I guess Buana, what's
yeah. So what is funny is that a white woman will clutch her purse because a bunch of Black people comes on a train because she feels like a purse, her valuables will be stolen. But a Black person will get on a train. I wouldn't clutch his kidneys. You know what I mean? Like, because they drug you and take out your kidneys. They'll steal your kidneys, but you weren't concerned about your kidneys, but the white woman concerned about her purse. But needless to say, I think that what brothers like Black Steel, I think that sometimes we miss is that there are many Black folks who thinks along the lines of Jesse Lee Peterson. Now, but Bakari said, yeah, it's a bunch of y'all niggas. Yeah. But the reality is, yeah, I think that there are many people who think along the lines of how this man feels and thinks. Maybe people who came from his background, some people who are his age, they think that young Black people are predators and they are there to harm them or abuse them and mistreat them. They have swallowed the Kool-Aid just like the rest of the Western society has. Just like the Western society has. And we struggle with the Kool-Aid that we drink because there are some things that we personally have internalized about how we interact with one another as well. Even on a civil level. Even also on a civil level, we still resort to name calling, lambasting one another, and yelling at one another as if we ain't grown adult people. So to some degree, we swallow the anti-Blackness as well. The brother was talking about looking in the mirror, but there are some things that we ignore, our own internal poisons that we trying to work out of our system. Our own internal poisons. Are Black people dangerous? Absolutely. Are white folks dangerous? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that the propaganda is not in our favor in terms of how the black world looks at us. And he is just coming. He is an extreme degree of how many black people think if they were to be honest. If they were to be honest, because we act it out all the time. We act it out all the time. You know, is he correct? And the statistics may not show it, but who was looking at that? You know, we are living in an age where statistics and truth and facts are subjective. They're optional. You could pick and choose the facts that you want to believe in and not believe in. This is the time we live in now, even in the age of information. That's an unfortunate thing. You know, people, you have droves of people who carry a narrative that is absolutely false in terms of their leadership in certain countries of the world. Absolutely ridiculous in some regards. You know, but they hold to it because they have an emotional attachment towards it. They have drunk the Kool-Aid. They have drunk the proverbial Kool-Aid. And this is where we exist now. And we trying our best to fight against these kinds of ideas. Will we be successful? I don't know. I don't know, but even in a battle that seemed like it's insurmountable, that we won't necessarily win, we have to still fight. We have to still fight on. Who else could do it? Who else could do it? So, in the face of us being heavily criticized on both sides, sometimes you have to proceed and you have to stay on script. You have to stay on script because ultimately the prize is for, in terms of us, is for the betterment our team black, as Brother Bakari like to say, is for the betterment of our team. So in the face of everything, we have to remain consistent and do what we need to do. You know, some of the black people will be vehemently against us. Some white folks absolutely against us, but we have to stay on message and on script. It's just what it is, man. Stay consistent, God message and our script. Most of the brothers and sisters, we see Gavi in a particular vein in light, follow that script and see it through to the end. You know what I mean? Stay on script. That's what I would advise the brothers to do. But I'll leave it there.
I think I got everyone in this first go, right? What I want to do, and again, I was inspired by Bakari's broadcast last night where Oni was a guest on there. You guys make sure go check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already to Bakari's channel.
You can't check it out. You can't check it out. I'm sorry. I took it down.
Oh, you took it down?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I took it down. No, that's okay. No. I took it down. I explained why on my video I did today. Now, you know, I don't really drink, and I got drunk last night, and I listened to myself, and I was a little bit embarrassed about some of the things I said, and I also took some personal shots at some people that y'all wouldn't know at personal shots because y'all don't know them, about some people that I absolutely care about, and I took shit. I took it down.
Oh, okay, Bakari, my bad. Well, okay, so you guys can't hear it, but still subscribe to Bakari's channel. He does a lot of good things on that channel. Mining our black business is a really good thing. And in general, whenever he speaks, is good stuff. And I'm not just saying that. Bakari knows I catch all those shows at nighttime. Him, Forecast, Consider, all that. But last night something was said and I thought was interesting. We often, this was only his words. He says we often don't ask the male and female perspective on a thing. Unfortunately, we don't have any women on the panel tonight. But I'll ask, I guess you could answer it hypothetically, if you will. How should black men and black women view these two guys in the video? I'll call one name to start it off, but then after that, anyone can respond. Buana, what say you?
I would view them as black men. Here's the thing. I view men based on their deeds. We as a community, we have professional talkers, very good professional speech makers, speech writers. We could give the best kind of speeches in the world, impassioned speeches where people become emotive based on the things that we say. But as when I look at when the rubber meets the road in terms of what men do on a daily basis in determining who these men are actually are. Now we can't see this because it's a video. This is a problem with social media, But they may have opinions that I don't particularly agree with. You know what I mean? But I would like to see how these brothers. Phil Scott is married to a Mexican woman. Some things, some feelers should go up automatically from that in terms of how he references black people on the whole or how he talks about them. An opinion should be drawn from that. This man, I don't know if he's ever been married before. And if he has, does he have children? What is his background? Who is he? Who did he collected money from? No one knows. They just know about the organization. He says he has bond. Who's been, give me a bond person, a testimonial from a person who's benefited from his program. I don't see these people. So I can't really draw a conclusion in terms of who these men are. And I know Phil Scott had a black wife who divorced him, and he is currently married to a Mexican woman. How is he the speaker for black issues? I don't know. I don't know. But the same as Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed talks about FBA. He's a walking contradiction. His wife has a Jewish mom and a black. I don't know if it's a black father, if it's immigrant or whatever. Who are these people? Where do they? Go ahead, brother. What you saying?
Haitian.
Okay, see now it's a mess now because the father is a Haitian and the mother is a Jewish person, and he talks about tethers. So maybe the father didn't like to read Nasheed, so he feels it's his personal mission to lambaste people from other countries. You talking about FBA, but you have non-FBA children. It becomes ridiculous and a walking contradiction. I look at the people with what they do on a daily basis, and people will criticize me on that end too. They're gonna sort through my life and see what my deeds are, my actions are, and they're gonna judge me. They should judge me based on that, not what a person running on with from their mouth. You know what I mean? The mouth media, we get enough of that on a daily basis. People talk a lot of good game, but when it comes down to follow through, what are you doing tonight? As Brother Bakari said a long time ago, black business. I'd give them $100 to fix my machine for 1 hour. You know what I mean? Because I believe in that idea and things of that nature. I believe in these kinds of things. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. But how these brothers live their life is most important to me, and I don't see that behind a social media screen. So I really can't. I'm not in a position to make a judgment on who these people are, and just based on what they're saying. I can't do that. But I'll leave it there and let the other brothers go.
Thanks for that, Buana. Anyone else want to chime in here? How should black men view these two people as well as black women?
So I'll chime in really quickly. I'm not going to keep them. So how should black people view Jesse Lee Peterson? Is that the question?
Black men and black women, how should they view both these guys?
Well, I mean, Jesse Lee Peterson just regurgitates white people's nonsense. So I think we should view him as a traitor to his race. He's a sellout. He's an enemy to black people. That's how he should be viewed. I don't know too much about the other guy, but as far as what he says, it says you could tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. And Jesse Lee Peterson the things he said, I mean, not just in this video, the things I've seen him say. What was the name of that one white girl, the little ugly white girl who was with the manosphere? I can't remember the chick name. But Pearly, that little ugly pioneer looking bitch. Anyways, so he was on Pearly saying that black people were the real racists and that black people make up racism just to excuse. So he has a long track record of saying some really hateful and egregious things about black people. So he should be viewed as a clown. Like, he has no standing within our community. Nobody's listening to Jesse Lee Peterson books. No one's asking him. Just like what I mentioned about Sowell. He's an economist. What economic theory has Sowell pushed? Only thing he says is people tune in to hear him say negative shit about black people. No one's asking him about his economic theories. No one's consulting him about what's going on in the economy today. He's just a coon. And he just regurgitates what black people say. And that's how all of us, black men, and I'm not speaking for the sisters, ain't no sisters, but I would say if there were sisters here, I would say I would hope they would view this man as an enemy to his people and someone who has no standing in our community. And he should be shunned in every way possible. And I think that we have to really come up with a way. And again, since he has no standing, he could let he talks what he talks. He shouldn't feel safe around black people. Is all I say. I'm gonna be honest with you. He should not feel safe or comfortable around black people. And based on his words, he said he feels nervous around. He sees a group of black boys around. Maybe he doesn't feel safe around black people. In that case, maybe he needs to stay where the fuck he's at and away from us. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
He probably doesn't feel comfortable around black women. But go ahead.
So that was a contradiction in what he say. He got this organization that gonna help build black men. What age is he working with? Is he starting with young men, young black men, 15, 16, 17? You know what I'm saying? You got this program where you're working with them, but you feel nervous when you're around them. So something ain't right there. I see Jesse Lee Peterson coon so much it's funny. I'm gonna be honest. I can't do nothing but laugh at him. That's how he does a lot of cooning. Hot dog sweating that right there, the one y'all call Phil. I would tell anybody. Yeah, it was that one dude on YouTube used to call him that, hot dog sweating that. But he's a scammer and a hustler. When Bawana mentioned his Mexican wife, and when other people mention his Mexican wife because he lied and said his wife was black, and then when somebody mentioned that she was Mexican, well, you can say what you want. She has done more in the black community than 90% of y'all black people talking about her. She cares about black people. But he got his start. I don't even like to say this dude's name, but I got to say it so y'all know who I'm talking about. Maybe I can say his initials. TS, hate black women. Thomas Sotomayor, right? You know, when he called black women laughing hyenas or whatever, right? He actually got that from that dude Phil right there, hot dog sweating that. That's how this dude got his start in social media. So he's a scammer, but that also shows the how naive and gullible that a lot of our people can be. Now, sometimes I don't think that's all our people that's sending them money and watching them. I also think that's those other folks doing that too. But he should be viewed as a scammer. And when they talk to him and when people mention them, I don't care what it is they're doing. Scammer. I was talking to my lady friend. She mentioned the other guy who had the FBA museum. Don't you ever mention his MNF name to me. No goddamn more, he a scammer. Well, I was just watching. I don't give a damn what you was watching. Don't turn that ish on no damn more. And I mean that. You know, or you can move on. You know, I don't deal with scammers. He has some good information. No, it's not. Everything these people do is to set you up for the next damn scam. That's what it is. See, we'll listen. See, that's some good information. No, it's not. Because what came after that information? Man, we got to be, look, I'm from Glen Island, right? I'm from a little town, about 700-800 people. How in the hell these people from these cities don't understand that? I don't get it. Now, I'm from a small town with big city problems. I don't understand how these people can talk about they from the street and they don't see that. I ain't got to say nothing negative about the FBA guy. I done already said he's a scammer. Everybody know that. And he's a liar. Everybody already know that. Hot dog sweaty neck is too. But all you got to do, what do they say? Now, after they say one thing or they show you something positive, allegedly, what comes after the positive things that they do? I need donations to help with the next such and such. So what they showed you, was it really positive or was it part of the game that set you up? Man, we got to stop just looking at the surface. But those two right there, Coon, Capital Coon, Jesse Lee Peterson, at least he stayed true to who he was to make his money on YouTube. Just hot dog sweaty neck switched up who he was to get money. So now he getting money from both sides. He couldn't make as much money as Jesse Lee Peterson, I guess, just on that side. So he had to switch up and now he got to play both sides. But one of them just a coon, the other one is a scamming coon. That's how I see it.
Appreciate that, Bakari. Anyone else want to respond to that? How should black men in general and black women in general? I know we should be hearing from a woman, but we don't have any black women around. So how should these how should we look at these two guys on the screen? Anyone else want to add?
Well, let me say this. This is something that we don't really process, generally, right? And that is that for the most part, like I said, I'm trying to write this book, and I realize, I'll give a bit of context. One time I was this lecture, and this guy was like, politics, economics, and culture are connected, and so I kind of resolved to think, economics is fundamental, right? And what happens is this: you can look at people through, let's say, those three lenses, right? You could look at somebody economically, you could look at them politically, you could look at them culturally. Most people are going to look at people economically, though. And so, unfortunately, brothers and sisters are going to look at these examples from an economic perspective. And they're going to say, like, brothers are going to say, can this guy hire me? And women are going to say, is this man single? Now, he's not attractive, obviously, right? But a lot of people are going to, because that's the thing that we like, I'll say it this way. Sometimes I look at video game streamers, right? Video game streamers, or I started looking at them again for some reason. I don't remember why, but I did, right? And what happens with video game streamers is that they're just young people who are playing video games and talking to their, imaginary fans or whatever, right? They are making a lot of money doing it. A lot of times. Now, some people are not making as much money. Some people are not making any money, right? But some people are, some of these young folk are making money, the streamers, right? And because of that, you have the copycats. You have other people doing that, and that goes on to YouTube, that goes to whatever. So people are looking at Jesse Lee Peterson making money cooning, or this guy Phil making money cooning, and they're saying, okay, that's a way to make a living. Because remember, I said this in the beginning, a lot of folk are lazy. A lot of folk want to make money just playing video games. A lot of people do want to make money just talking political shit, and but they see the examples of those who are, Malcolm X said it. Anytime somebody's more successful than you, they're doing something you're not doing, right? People are looking at Jesse Lee Peterson. They're saying, what is he doing, right? And if he can't hire me, let me be his competition, and so you have those examples, and why it rolls up, why it's popular, I don't know, right? But that's what, like that's unfortunately how people are going to see him. Now, on a cultural level, obviously, this guy is a menace to society. Phil hides it better. This guy is just in your face, so on and so forth. But he understands too who his audience is. His audience is not Oni. You know what I'm saying? He don't care about me. His audience are the trumpets, the white male trumpets in particular, or the white women trumpets, the white trumpets. That's his audience. As far as he's concerned, like as long as you could do that, like just like that Candace Owens, as long as you can appeal to the white trumpets, because the thing about white trumpets, say what you will, those boys got money. I'll leave it at that.
One of the reasons why I love putting on and hosting Shoot the Breeze is because, again, like I said last week, I think it was, no one could know everything, right? No one person. So to me, I looked at Phil and the Adwise show. To me, it was like a Pan-African show. I never tuned in regularly about, I used to tune in from time to time. But Anthony McPhail out there in the chat put me on, as well as Bakari earlier when he spoke. He said Phil Scott began his YouTube career with a platform called The Advice Show, in which he highlighted black female ratchet behavior, world star foolishness. I had no idea. I'm not even lying to tell you that. I had no idea he started off like Tommy Sotomayor. I'm real shocked, and it goes to show how you really do need to kind of look into the backgrounds of these people. A holistic approach. I got turned off by Phil when he started doing the FBA stuff. That's something that Umar does too. Umar and them, because they're pandering and grifting, they pander to that FBA stuff too, but they try to kind of sit on the fence and pretend like they're not Tariq Nasheed level pandering, right? But it's very interesting how I sit here week to week and I learned something that I never knew. Another guy that Bakari put me on to was on some shit was Taharka Bey. I had no idea about that stuff he did with the NFAC, but this is why it's good to have these kind of discussions when, because a lot of our people probably don't know the backgrounds of this. One day Tommy Sotomayor might be on some Pan-African type shit if he sees a value in it. So it's very interesting to sit here sometimes. Anthony McPhail in the chat said Phil is a fraud. KW7 said Keith Newsom, who I don't know who that is, roasted Philip Scott years ago. Interesting, right? Trigger Happy says he has a non-black wife. Berta Bakari in the chat said Jason Black Truth started like Phil Scott. Didn't know that either. Now I know he is always kind of talking down to people. Look it up and all that stupid shit, but didn't know it. So this is why I'm happy to come here every week and learn something new. With that said, does anyone else want to respond to this question here? Is someone going to respond or no? I heard a mic open for a second.
That was my mic open. I was anticipating and nothing. Don't worry about it. I wasn't going to respond to that. Don't worry about it. That's why.
Okay.
I want to respond to that. I see that there should, if what we say is true, they are able to solicit not large numbers. Phil Smart, I think, got 1 million subscribers. So his subscriber base, for right or for wrong, he is getting a lot of ears. People want to listen to what he has to say. What is the draw and what is the attraction to the things that he says? Jesse Lee Peterson, none of us are gonna cross that aisle in terms of who his audience is and who his market is. But for a man who calls him, he says, as Afro Native World says, the African Diaspora News Network, he is able to solicit many, many ears of the African diaspora around the world. How has he been able to do that? How can that be copied? If for the right and for the wrong, we all agree that Phil Scott has issues in terms of what his messaging is, and in terms of a lot of the things that he did, his personal life. But how was he able to solicit the audience he has solicited and get in their ear? And I think that's also a reasonable question to ask, or objective question to ask, because Phil Smart ain't smarter than none of the brothers on the panel. None of the brothers on the panel. So that would be my question in terms of in going forward. How is he able to do that? What kind of message he's delivering that is causing Black people to want to hear the kind of message all over the planet? These are also interesting and important questions to ask ourselves. Are we Uncle Toms? The fact that, to which degree, the fact that we want to eat and swallow his content, despite the fact that we believe that he's a con artist and a scammer and all the names that we put on him. because he has a black audience. Even though he have a white audience too, I'm sure he does have a black audience. So what is causing these people to want to come to listen and hear what he has to say? That also is an important question that we could ask ourselves as well. So I'll leave it there.
I'm gonna say this real quick. I believe that I think people use this saying a broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm not Jesse Lee Peterson. Sometimes I listen to him. Sometimes he has something that you could use, black people can use. But the only thing is, if I see Jesse Lee Peterson getting his ass whooped, I'm not saving him. The other guy, Phil, even though the same him also. Sometimes when you watch his channel, he like I think he has a collective channel where he has different people talking. And Brian, what you just said, Phil, for example, you might really be suckered into believing he's 100% down because his channel, the new channel that he has like different people, and they all seem to be on the Pan African thing. So I don't know, but Jesse Lee, I don't think no matter what, even though I say he's a broken clock is right twice a day, I'm not. If his car is hanging over the Brooklyn Bridge, I'm not risking my life for him. I'm gonna see you next lifetime. But that doesn't mean that he never said stuff. He didn't say something that's right. Just like what's her name, Candace Owen. Candace Owen might be is far gone, but that doesn't mean sometimes she doesn't say something that's right. I guess that's the grift. They might spit a little truth in there and then to reel you in, but she's not really. But I think Phil is. I don't know, Phil. Like if you watch his channel, he has like 10 different like he has a girl from Ethiopia or something like that. Then he has another lady, and if you pay attention to it, he might be able to sucker you in until what Koku said that he's with that division thing where he's always talking about FDA or whatever. But I mean, am I gonna risk my life for these two dudes? Definitely not for Jesse Lee Peterson. But I think you got to be careful with guys like Phil because he looks the part and he might act the part from time to time. So that's what I have to say about that.
Appreciate it. That's the show for tonight. I know we only did 4 topics. I had technical difficulties. I had to restart the stream, all that old shit. But we had a good conversation, I think. I'm going to ask everyone to shout out something positive, something personal, as far as their shows or whatever, or what they're doing in the community. I'll start with Urzuli. You want to shout anything out this week?
And shout out to all the people who check black people for their bullshit.
All right. Real Black Gentleman, want to shout anything out this week?
None in particular. I just thank you for letting me speak. That's all.
It's my pleasure. Bakari, what you want to shout out this week?
Hey man, y'all can go check out. I did do a live today called "Looking in the Mirror," so y'all can check that out. Support black business, and everybody who want to call out black people for doing bullshit. Ask them what they're the solution other than sitting around and being angry. But let me say this. You said something right quick. I'm finna go. When you said about Jason Black, look it up. And you know what? You see how black people love disrespect? You see how many people will be eventually people gonna understand what I'm saying. See, I don't take disrespect. But you see how black people love disrespect? That's what your homie on the panel want to do. If he had him a YouTube channel, he'll be good. He'll have some people. He's very disrespectful toward black people. Probably weak as water, like Jason Black them, but he would have a lot of people in his chat. I'm just saying.
Yo, bro, you joined the number one. You was in the U.S. Army. You got shit to say to me, bro. You went in front of the men that you're crying about. What are you talking about, bro?
No, Koku, let him go.
Bro,
Koku, no, Koku. Let him go, Koku. I'm an old elephant. I got tough skin. Yep, I was in the U.S. Army. I sure was. Do you want to know why I was in the U.S. Army? Because it was somebody like you running their mouth to me. And one night I crept up in their house with that 12 gauge and I almost did 20 years for breaking and entering
And
with
you
a
should
10
have.
kill
You
with
should
loaded
have.
sawed off.
You should have. You should have
But
done
it
20
wasn't
years,
you though.
dummy. Shut up.
It wasn't you.
All right,
Can I
I'm
folks.
different. I'm just
Can I?
talking shit. Look,
No, I
but I
know.
was
I know.
honest about what I said about it. But I'm just talking shit about that right there. When I said that, that was a tasteless joke. So I do apologize, Azuli. Even though we gonna have our differences forever, but that was a tasteless joke, and I will apologize to you. So I do
That's
apologize for
beautiful.
that.
That's
Because that was
beautiful.
that was a tasteless joke, Azuli, and I don't mean that at all, none
Yeah,
whatsoever. So
that's beautiful.
I do apologize about that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let me give my last challenge too. It's a challenge. Brother Bakari have a Black Business Challenge. I have a challenge for the brothers. Um, whatever extra clothes y'all have that y'all don't wear anymore, look in your closet. Go to y'all embassies and things like that, whatever. African embassy, Caribbean embassy. If they need anything, you know, support the embassies. Whatever books y'all may have that y'all don't use anymore, whatever. Only, you know, go to the whatever African embassy. I think they may take books to ship to their countries, respective countries. So go to the embassies, ask whatever African embassies or Caribbean embassies if they would want to have any donations for books or clothing, and give it to the embassies so they can ship it to their respective countries. That's the Black Business Challenge I have for this week. So if you're all interested in doing these things, just go to the embassies. If y'all can't go there, go to a Black organization where people who accept clothing or books and things like that. I'm sure schools do it all the time and donate it to the schools that exist within y'all areas if y'all could. So that's my Black Business Challenge for this week for the brothers. So I'll leave it there.
Appreciate that. Black Seal, want to shout anything out this week?
Shout out to you, Koku, for playing referee tonight, man. Well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. But I'm not really here to referee grown men, man. And it's kind of wearing me down a little bit now. You know? But Black Seal, continue.
Oh no, that was all I had to say. I enjoyed the discussion tonight, like I always do. Even though I might not agree with everyone, I respect your viewpoints and I'm willing to hear them out. But yeah, so that's all I really have to say. Shout out to all the brothers on here. Anything positive? I mean, this is it's almost 2024. I mean, it can't get any worse than this, right? Right? I don't know. But anyway,
What's positive is Black Steel get his he ain't horse no more. His health seemed like it'll recover.
yeah,
That's
I feel
right?
better. I feel better. Next week is coming up on finals for the kids, so I gotta, I'm gonna be in the trenches with the youth of our future. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So I'm sorry. Let me bring it. I'm trying to wrap it up. So there was we had a classroom discussion on the transatlantic slave trade. And it is so disturbing how much propaganda is being funneled to the young people of today. I had to rewrite that whole paper. It's so sad. And I really think, as Black people, anyone who's listening, if you're a parent, pay attention to what your children bring home from school. Pay attention to their lessons if you're listening to this, because it is so much garbage that is being taught to Black children that minimizes our struggle. So, on a positive, just make sure, parent, be involved in your children's education. It's so much nonsense out here. I'll leave it there.
That's why you are in the classroom, brother. That's why you are in the classroom, and we happy that you are in the classroom. I I want you to see, well. Let me know. I ain't trying to take over no mind show, but if you could expand on that next week, because I would like to know what you mean when you say there's BS going on
I'll
and
give you
what
a
the
quick example.
curriculum is.
So I'll give you a quick example. So um in the worksheet they were talking about the rate of death that was suffered by African people during the Ma'afa, right? So and I could go and I have a copy in my suitcase. I'm gonna get it right now. But they were saying how the rate of death was like 15%. However, the rate of sailors during the same period was actually higher, as a way to minimize what was going on through our struggle. Like, yeah, a lot of Black people died, but and then the idea, well, it was the majority of Africans who were brought through the slave trade, only 5% came to the United States of America, as though that's some sort of a positive thing. Like what? It's always some sort of mitigating circumstance. That's kind of what I'm saying right there. That type of stuff triggers me.
Coco, you remember last week when I was telling you the devil is in the details? Go find who write that book. Go find who write that book.
Absolutely. Azuli dropped off, but Azuli, if you're still listening, you see in the chat, Bakari asks, how can he purchase your movie? I don't think the movie is for purchase. I think he did it with Buana and others, where he'll send you the link or something if he gets your email. So just Azuli, just respond to Bakari in the chat. That'll be good, man. We gotta stop the what seems to be quarreling and stuff too, man. It's like that doesn't build anything. That only really destroys. Pro Black Perspective only. You have anything to shout out this week?
Of course, Burkina Faso. I heard it was like one of the, or it might be Niger, one of the two, but I heard it was like the fastest growing economy. I think I might have put a prompt on the for Shoot the Breeze, where apparently they're trying to do like they say a new nation. It might just be a defense pack, but you never know. Like we might have a new nation on the way. So watch out, South Sudan. Beyond that, oh yeah, I'm thinking I don't know what to do for tomorrow, but I'm thinking y'all think I should do the GED? Kind of crazy, right? Or that's just kind of weird. But that's all I can think about. Burkina Faso, Niger, and how they're improving the economy, because that's what revolution's about. Really getting in control of the state and then putting some good policies in, and not enough of us are talking about the good policies or getting control of the state. And that's why I don't even mess with the US anymore. Anthony McPhail says it's said to be a confederation. Yeah, I'm hoping it'll come about, but who knows, but I mean, that's the thing though. It's like, getting in charge of the state, the people on the top are the ones who decide whether something's gonna become a federation or not. And so, you got to find yourself proximity to the top, or find yourself somewhere where the top ain't that bad. And the thing is, when you in the Americlan, you can't the top is corrupt, and you're not going to the top neither. But that's all I can say. Thanks for hosting us, bro.
No problem. Trigger Hobby 262 said Burkina removed French as their main language, moving towards indigenous languages. I thought that was superb to see. Anthony McPhail in the chat says, great show, everybody. Check out 9 Obafemi's book, Every Day is a Sunday, a children's African-centered pamphlet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, every day is a Sunday. Yeah.
Cool. He told me about it when I interviewed him. Anthony pointed out to me on Instagram, so I'm going to be ordering it soon. I'll try to get him on the show to talk about it too, as a matter of fact. So look out for that. I was supposed to go on this week, and something happened, and I didn't go on this week. So maybe this week I'll go on twice during the week. Other than that, I guess that's the show for tonight. So like I said, I might be on during the week. Speaking of topics on Discord, some topics I didn't put up for a reason, but of course I will go back and put them up. There's a topic on Rastafari. I figure that's a good, topic to have around these people's Christmas celebration. So I'll bring it back that night. And a few others. I'm going to try to make that show around that time, that weekend. Try to make it real powerful. So look out for that. Anyway, that's been the show tonight. Thanks to everyone who was here. Yeah.
I sent you something else on Twitter. When you get a chance, check it out.
Okay. All right. And you guys can send me stuff on Twitter and stuff too. No problem. That's the show tonight. We'll be back next week. I'll be here hosting you guys again. Until then, you guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.